Gather yourself together with Fringes. Fringes is a new social networking app for the community. Are you looking to study, teach, cook, play, sew, and travel? Perhaps you're new to the area and are tired of spending Sabbaths alone? Are you looking for a place to post your events, products, and services? Rejoice! Fringes is here. Download free today. Available on Google Play and the App Store.
Peace and greetings to you. This is Eylon Yisrael, affectionately known as the First Lady of Debate Talk for you. I have enjoyed coming to you week after week, season after season, growing together, speaking about the difficult topics, investing the energy, time, and effort with our brothers and sisters on the panel. Today, I would like to come to you with an opportunity for you to invest in something that I've been working on and that's near and dear to me. It's called the Yummy Cottage. You can learn more about it at www.gofundme.com/the Yummy Cottage. We're currently fundraising so that we can get it off the ground, and your help would be appreciated. Once again, www.gofundme.com/the Yummy Cottage. Check the link in the box and hope to hear from you soon.
HebrewWay.com, high quality custom Israelite apparel store. The place to find scripture-based attire for men, women, and children of all ages. We have a wide range of t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, caps, beanies, and bags, available in a full range of sizes. Also, the ideal place to find Israelite gifts for family and friends. HebrewWay.com is geared toward awakening men and women and especially the youth worldwide. Try our uniquely crafted collection with free shipping on eligible items. Help spread the word of the Most High. Visit us at HebrewWay.com. That's HebrewWay.com. Shalom.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to another show. You're now listening to Season 8 of Debate Talk Free Radio, the bonus edition. I'm your host, Sal Showtime. We are back with another classic show for the family out there. Well, this is the bonus edition. This is a special edition of Debate Talk for You. As y'all know, last week was the final week for Debate Talk for You. However, we're doing a bonus segment for the family out there that can't get enough of Debate Talk for You Radio. And before we go on, I'll take a little summer break, and actually we're going to come back for a summer special, family. We're going to come back for a summer special. It's definitely official. We got the donations in, and I'm going to speak about that as well, in a few more minutes. But we're going to have a summer special, guys. So what I'm doing, I'm just waiting for all the special guests to arrive. We have, I see we have 3 special guests that's here right now, but I'm trying to get the rest of the teams, here. I'm going to try to hit them up in the background. In the meanwhile, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a little bit of intermission music while I reach out to everybody and try to get them here. I know that I got a message from Bishop Eliyahu. He's going to be about 30 minutes late, which is fine. So as soon as he comes in, we're going to bring him in. And, of course, once he calls in, we're going to get him in the program. And my brother Anonymous Hebrew, he's not feeling well. He's not going to make it tonight right here on Debate Talk for You after the trial special. For those who don't know, this is called After the Trial Special, Offenders of the New Testament. For those who missed the trial, you can always go back on the YouTube page, on iTunes, and, of course, go to Blog Talk Radio. Go to www.blogtalkradio.com/Debate Talk for You. Check out the trial. I think it's 2 parts, actually, on the YouTube page. It's very edifying. Make sure you get your pen and pads ready. Make sure you take down those notes as usual. And if you heard the program already, tonight is your time to call in and let us know what you thought about the trial. Again, this is the After the Trial special. We still got a lot of people making comments on the threads, on YouTube, still interacting, still checking out that particular trial show. That was the first time we did something like that on this particular program, Debate Talk for You, and pretty much it was a success. So what we're going to do is take a little intermission break. When we come back, hopefully get everybody here and we can get the show started. So stand by.
This your brother John Boy, and I'm with Sal Showtime, and this is Debate Talk for You.
All right. What's going on, family? This is the Debate Check, Fact Check, Volume 3. This is Fact Check, Volume 3, the bonus edition after the trial special. We appreciate the family that's been supporting the brand as far as checking out the show and making their comments on the YouTube threads. And, of course, on iTunes, subscribing to the show, the platform, Debate Talk for You. Once again, this is the bonus edition, family. This is the bonus edition right here on Debate Talk for you. After this, we're not going to come back on the air until Monday. I changed the date, Monday, June 25th. That will begin the summer special. Mark on your calendar. That's Monday, June 25th. Thanks to 2 people that donated. Only 2 people donated to make this happen. So I need to thank these 2 people. The first brother was Kelvin Davis, who donated, and actually Anonymous Hebrew donated tremendously to make that special summer special happen. And to be quite honest, it even shouldn't have to take a special guest to donate. You know, he's a special guest. It should take the listening audience out there that support the brand, that love the show, to just, you know, put their money towards it. But he wanted this summer special to happen so much that he actually donated to make this happen for y'all. So, and he donated a huge amount of money in order for this special summer special to happen. So, I really need to thank these 2 brothers, Kelvin Davis and Anonymous Hebrew, for making it happen. But people, we got to do better, people. You know, we have too many listeners out here for only 2 people to make the summer special happen. But it's going to happen, family. Mark on your calendar. It's going to happen Monday, June 25th, y'all. And it's going to be a 2-week summer special. We already got some things lined up for you, and I'm going to make those announcements. We have one debate already scheduled, and we have a class scheduled. I'm trying to set up some other stuff, but stay tuned. But in the meanwhile, everybody's still not here. Well, the people that's here, I'm going to introduce them right now. Let's go to the phone lines. And by the way, like I mentioned earlier, Anonymous Hebrew's not feeling well. He's not going to make it today. However, we're going to have his partner for the Man Up segment, Brother B.A., just fill in for him for the night. And he's just going to give pretty much, you know, what his thoughts was. You know, everybody's going to give their thoughts pretty much on what they thought about the trial, some of the feedback they've been receiving, you know, this what they feel about the trial overall. And, you know, we're just going to hear the aftermath of what happened after the trial. So let me introduce everybody, though. Let's go to my brother MarieEL. Welcome to the show.
Shalom, Mr. Carr. Shalom, everybody. Shalom, Fal. Shalom, whoever else is on the panel. I don't know who all are on the panel. I know you said BA was on the panel. Shalom to you. I want to give more praises to the Most High. And it's only begotten Son, Israel. I was on the Torah only side, but I didn't really get to speak too much in the trial. Maybe had 20 minutes, but it was a real good educational 20 minutes for me. I also want to give a special shout out to the 2 brothers that donated. He said it was Calvin and Anonymous Hebrew. Big ups to y'all, mad respect to y'all for even doing that. This show is extremely, or I would say, you know, this whole thing is amazing, and I really would need this, you know, in the summer, because I'm actually in school trying to get my CDL right now, and I'm going to be on the road, so this would be great while I'm on the road to listen to have some more, some fresh, coming with some fresh knowledge and some fresh understanding. So shout out to them. Also want to give a shout out to my Isha. Shalom, I know she's listening, MarieEL Danielle. And let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get right into it and get your perspective. But stand by. Let me go down the line and introduce everybody else as well. Once again, it's Fact Check Volume 3, the After the Trial Special, Offenders in the New Testament. It's the bonus edition right here on Debate Talk for you. After that, we're going to take a break up until Monday, June 25th. That's when the summer special will begin. Again, thanks to 2 individuals, Kelvin Davis and Anonymous Hebrew. And Anonymous Hebrew sent in a tremendous amount in order to make it happen. So shout out to them brothers, and we appreciate them. Let's go to my brother Chris Harris. Welcome to the show.
Hey, peace, everybody. All praises to the supreme intelligence of the universe, the Most High. Peace to the brothers on the panel. Peace to Sal. And I'm going to pledge $40 to Sal so we can get that donation in also, because I always say let's donate. So I'm going to pledge $40 from the panel to keep the show afloat. Because like I said, all these other theologians got their platforms. How come we can't have our own? So I'll make a personal pledge of $40.
Yeah, no doubt. I appreciate that, Chris. No doubt. But you know, the point is, you know, you shouldn't even have to do that, brother, as a special guest. You know what I'm saying? Because you're on the panel, you're a special guest. You put your time to the side. the family out there, the listeners out there, they should be the ones. But I appreciate it though. But they should be the ones.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. You know what? Also, shout out to Anonymous Hebrew, man. Hope you feel better, man. And real excited about tonight, but I do have to work tonight, so my answers will be very as sharp as always, and I'll try and keep it as thorough like I always do. If it sounds like during the answer I'm not answering it clearly, it's probably because I'm at work or something like that. Now my mind is focused on two different things. So other than that, man, I'm good, man. Like I said, just excited as always.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, man. It's Chris Harris once again right here on Debate Talk Radio. My next special guest that's here, we have Dayvaughn Mays. Welcome to the show, Dayvaughn.
Shalom. All praise to the Most High God of Israel. Shalom to the panel. Shalom to you, Sal. Shalom to the audience. Thanks for having me again. Hopefully, I don't know exactly how tonight's gonna go, but based on the last show, the trial. I really don't think it was. It was a little bit of a trial, but I think it was more of a preaching platform. And then a couple of questions got asked. You know what I'm saying? After we had to hear a sermon, then we got asked a few questions. And if you go back and listen, a lot of my questions got cut off because the time ran out. So I couldn't elaborate on a lot of stuff that I was even asked. And at the end of the show, I was asked the majority of the questions for whatever reason. So, I mean, it is what it is. And I do want to know when we're going to do the New Testament on trial. If, I don't know, Sal, when you got that plan, you know what I mean? But, I'm here. Let's get it.
Yeah, actually, this whole trial thing started up a new segment on Debate Talk Radio. So we're going to have, Christianity on trial, Kemet on trial, all kind of stuff on the platform. So we will have some more trials. It's definitely going to happen. We will have a lot more trials on the show. So we appreciate you, for coming on the platform. My next special guest is here. This is Brother B.A. filling in for Anonymous. Welcome to the show, B.A.
Yo, what's the word? It's B.A. Ben Abraham out of Sacramento, California. Much love to all. First and foremost, I'd like to praise the Most High in the name of His only anointed messenger known as Yeshua the Christ. Once again, much love to everybody on the panel. And I'm just here to sit back and just expound on my personal opinion, how I saw the trial and what I witnessed, what I heard, and just some thoughts. It's a food for thought for all. Shalom.
All right, once again, that's Brother B.A. filling in for Anonymous. We appreciate you. All right, so we're just waiting for Eylon Yisrael to call in. If you're out there, brother, because we have a lot of callers on the phone line, you got to press number 1. And for those that's having difficulty calling in, send me an email, debatetalku@gmail.com. That's debatetalk, the number 4, letter U, @gmail.com. And I'll gladly read out some of your questions, your comments. Like I said, we have a lot of people on the phone lines right about now. Might be pretty much filled. But if you can get through. Make sure you call in 319-527-6239. You're calling via phone, calling via Skype. So we're waiting for Eylon Yisrael. We're waiting for Zadok. Waiting for Bishop Eliyahu and Brother Danny and also Robert Reed. If you guys are out there, just press number 1, and we'll definitely. Okay, I see somebody press number 1. If the rest of you guys are out there, just press number 1, and we'll add you in. Let's see who this is. Okay, I believe this is my brother Bishop Eliyahu. Let's check and see. Are you there?
Hey, shalom, peace and blessings, family. This is Bishop Eliyahu. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hey, we're doing pretty good, man. What's going on with you?
Hey, shalom, brother. Sorry for coming in a little bit late. We were just doing some ministry out there for the Lord Jesus Christ, for God our Father, and I'm happy that I was able to make it here, just getting situated. And peace and blessings to all the family out there, and Shabbat Shalom.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, most definitely, man. We appreciate you for coming on. All right, so we're going to get this show started, family. Like I said, as everybody else come in, I'm going to bring them in, when they call in. And we're going to get this show started. Again, family, this is your time, guys, the audience out there. If you have any questions in regards to the trial, that number, 319-527-6239. And actually listening to the trial, we're going to tweak it. There's some things I'm definitely going to improve on as far as the format is concerned. Sometimes when you do your first segment on certain, on the show, you got to sit back and hear it and critique some things and make it even bigger and better. So the next time we do it, it won't be as long, and there's going to be a few adjustments made. But of course, that's what it's all about, Debate Talk Radio. So let's get the show started, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give everybody like 20 minutes to just say what they felt about the trial, what some of the kind of feedback they are getting, some comments that's being made, give us some, in general what their feedback is. And, of course, I'm going to ask a few questions in the process. Everybody's going to go down the line and get some of their things off their chest. And we're going to come back with a rebuttal session. And it's going to be like 10 minutes each. And after that, we're going to open up the phone lines to the audience out there, for the audience members that have their general questions. Again, the number is 319-527-6239. Put it on speed dial. And when you call in, you got to press number 1. But let's go to some of the special guys. Let's go to my brother MarieEL. What's going on, man?
What's going on? So, how I felt about the trial? The trial was pretty interesting.
How did you feel about that trial, brother? How did you feel about it, man? You got 20 minutes to rock out. Let the family know what you think. And also mention anything that you've seen, anything that you've heard. Talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Okay. What I saw was a couple of brothers that, I do know that I'm kind of new. Nobody really knows. And, I got to kind of go onto the comment board and kind of read up on the comment board and, kind of made my comments and stuff and was kind of feeling like, well, I don't really know what you believe in, and I don't really know what your opinions or stuff about certain situations or certain topics or what you rock with and anything like that. So I can respect that, in the sense of, they didn't really want to come after me or anything like that. I was hoping that, maybe I can get a couple of questions in or some people, and I do know Anonymous Hebrew and I can't remember the other brother's name, did actually came out and try to test and see where I was standing there with a couple of things. So I did enjoy that part. But overall, what I've seen was it was kind of a lot of singling out. Chris, with Chris and Dayvaughn Mays, a lot of them were kind of being singled out in the sense of okay, well, I want to attack them, and I believe that Chris Harris did a pretty great job with how he answered with a lot of questions and how he held his composure and everything like that. So a big up to him and stuff like that. Just how to just simply just have an intelligent conversation and stuff. But I do see that the panel majority went after Dayvaughn Mays, and tried to, put him under so much pressure and stuff like that, trying to, catch him in all kinds of loops and trying to catch him all kinds of holes and stuff like that. And he held his ground a little bit, so I have to give him props for that. He held his ground. He held his own for a long time. And, the majority of the show was mainly, it was like Dayvaughn on trial, so it was pretty interesting, seeing how they was going at it. But just overall, I what I didn't like about it was the majority of the attacks that was being done. A lot of times it was being cut off, and then they'll ask a question, and then Dayvaughn would try to answer it, and then like he was saying, it turned up being a sermon and stuff like that. And then even when I got, the little time that I got put on, it was the majority of that, of them, I guess just giving out their opinions more instead of just asking questions. I always thought it was just mainly supposed to be, okay, well, it's just a Q&A. We are not allowed to ask questions, and, they was not allowed to answer. Or kind of, give their opinions or give their thoughts. It was just supposed to be, if we take this as a trial or anything like that, if you look at courts or anything like that, you have a defense attorney and they come in and they're mainly asking questions to try to see where, a person is standing there and trying to figure out, what they believe in and pretty much why they reject the New Testament, but not once, well, quite a few times, but majority of the time was, what do you know about the Old Testament? What do you know about this? What do you think about, this part in the Tanakh, this part in the Tanakh. So it was mainly like the Tanakh only on trials about the Tanakh. You know, and I'm like, well, no, this is supposed to be about the New Testament. You know, why we don't rock with the New Testament like that, like how as hard as them, or why we don't rock with Yeshua as hard as they do. And it was kind of like, you know, back, and then not only that, like we sit here, you know, testing each other and stuff like that. Like, okay, what are they gonna call Chris? And then like, okay, who you want to put on the hot seat? Chris here. I'll see, bam, there you go. And I'm like this the whole time, and I'm saying like 2 hours straight, just like, okay, so are they even going to, do they even know that I'm here? I'm testing you, Sal, like, okay, let them know that I'm here. Like, you know, like I'm still here. And I got to pay money to call in and stuff like that. And I, you know, hustled up. I done studied like for 3 weeks, preparing myself and stuff like that for, maybe 20 minutes of just, like, okay, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this?
I think about MarieEL. You said you had to pay money. You calling from overseas or something? Or you in the UK or something like that? Where you at?
No, like just my phone company.
Okay,
you know, they don't. And I don't know if now it's free now. So I mean, I don't know. I guess they got tired of me, you know, calling like, because I listen to all the shows. You know, I listen to especially like Under the Palm and all that stuff. Like, so I listen to all of them and calling in and stuff like that with EMUNAH and Miana and Sister Ashanti and stuff. So I listen to everything. So I'm constantly putting money into this into my phone line just so I can have minutes to call in. And I definitely did this to put money into this just so I can go into the trial just for 20 minutes. You know, I could have just, you know, pretty much just went onto the Skype and just did that and listened off of Skype, you know, instead of doing that. But, you know, hopefully, you know, the audience, and I think this is for the audience, you know, I'm here. Okay, I'm here. So when you call in, you know, don't forget about me. I'm here. You know, I'm willing to, like, you know, share my knowledge and what I believe about this and what I think about the New Testament and stuff like that. And to kind of clear things up, I don't toss away the New Testament. I agree with a lot of stuff with the philosophies that, you know, Yeshua was teaching and stuff like that. I just don't like how he's been portrayed, you know, as far as like, oh, he's a special guy and he's a son of God. He's different from every other person that ever walked the face of the earth. I believe that, you know, he was a regular guy that came down and he just had some knowledge about Torah. You know, he came in, learned Torah just like everybody else. Had to come into knowledge of Torah just like everybody else and stuff like that. I believe that his whole story just got straight Greek or Hellenized and made elevated him to a point where he's right next to the Most High. You know, we don't say, you know, or they don't. The Messianics don't say, all praise in the Most High in the name and his only begotten Son. Like that's why I would say like only begotten Son Israel, because all of Israel was a son. Every single prophet that came had some kind of special tag. You know, they was very different from the rest of the nations and stuff like that. And they came and they, you know, preached and stuff like that, or they came and they tried to, you know, save Israel or change Israel away from the ways and stuff like that. And I believe that he did the exact same thing. You know, I take him as just a prophet. If anything, maybe a priest. You know, or whatever. If you want to go on.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you continue. But once again, I'm getting some feedback from the family saying they're having some difficulties calling in. I don't know what it is, but just keep trying, family. Again, the number is 319-527-6239. You know, Blog Talk Radio. You know, sometimes it acts up, but all I can tell you is keep on trying to call in. Just keep on trying. All right. Yeah, MarieEL, you mentioned that pretty much there's some parts of the New Testament that you do subscribe to. Is that a fact?
Yes. Like I do get with some of his teachings and sense like that. Like as far as like, you know, whoever keeps my commandments is my father and my mother and my son. You know, and brother. I mean, my father and whoever keeps my father's commandments is my mother, brother, or sister. You know, I get with that. You know, they said have no other Shema Israel. Yeah, he said the Shema and stuff like that. And you know, trying to correct people as far as like getting them out of certain things that they believed in or certain things that the Romans and, because I'm pretty much pre-zealot, if you will understand that. I know they had a pretty big debate about, some of the stuff that was in pre-zealot under the palm with Sister EMUNAH and Niana and Divine Prospect and stuff. So and my whole mission right now is really to bridge the gap between this Torah only and Brit Kadashah followers and stuff like that. So I'm really here just to sharpen my sword and just to express why I don't get that. Like me, I'm willing to be convinced. Change my mind. Like that's all I need you to change my mind. But I'm not going to be gullible. I don't get with oh, well, it's not physical, it's spiritual now. But to me, spiritual is physical. Everything that happens in the physical happens in the spiritual. Everything that's done in the earth is done in the heaven. So you got to, but you can't come with this Greek philosophy like, oh, well, heaven is in God or he's coming back in. I don't get with the resurrection, as far as there's going to be a bodily resurrection, and even with, the whole, who is the Messiah thing, I don't really care about that. Right now, what are we going to do with our community? How are we going to get our community there, And I feel that that's one of the biggest things that's actually been here dividing me. To me, I don't really need the New Testament. That's why I don't really deal with it. And when they had the whole Brother Josh was on, I would say last week, that was kind of hectic, as far as I try to call in and, try to set up my questions and where I was going to get to my question. And he straight cut me off saying that it was because of my tone of voice and stuff like that. And I'm thinking it's just because, I rock with the Torah only or the Tanakh only. He automatically think I'm going to attack him. Well, no, I'm just trying to gain understanding. And I think that people or a lot of, and I'm not just going to say just Messianics. I'm going to say that there's some Torah only people that are like that. In the sense of, the moment they hear the Brit Kadashah, you cut that off. Or the moment they hear that we're not, or somebody's not a part of the Brit Kadashah, you're trying to attack, and they're trying to just attack. And we don't need to be doing that. If we're going to sit here and we're going to try to build as a nation, we got bigger enemies than just each other. But it seems like we are our biggest enemies right now. As far as the Tanakh only and Messianics, we're our biggest threat. So I believe that if you call in and see what we believe and why we don't deal with the New Testament or why I don't feel that is needed or is necessary or we need this for complete salvation or whatsoever, then it could be some kind of understanding of, in the sense of, okay, I can get with that. I see why you don't believe that. Okay, well, let's try to find common ground. That should be what the whole point of this whole thing is, the whole trial thing is. Let's try to figure out, okay, well, if you don't get with that, you don't get with that. Okay, well, what do you believe in or what do you ride with and stuff like that? What's the common goal? What's the common denominator, as some people would say? What's the common denominator that we can sit here and actually try to build that? We don't have to worry about that. And Brother Josh, though, I can't give him this because he did say this: if you don't rock with the New Testament, then don't deal with it. I completely agree with that. If I don't rock with the New Testament, so I'm not going to try to deal with it. I'm not going to try to attack. I'm not going to try to slander you with it. If that's what you do, that's what you do. That's what governs your household. That's what governs your household. And with the Tanakh only, if that's what governs your household, that's what governs your household. As long as you're peaceful with it and you're not trying to force it on anybody, that's fine. But just tell me what your philosophy is. I'm open to all kinds of philosophies. Maybe I can take a little piece of what you say and be like, oh, that makes sense. So I can at least apply that to my life or something like that. That's not too bad to actually try to get with or whatsoever, because it's not like I never came from a Christian. I grew up Christian 23 years. I mean, I went hard, and I used to go hard on Muslims, all kinds of stuff like that. Then when I came into the walk, I was Messianic for a minute, but then I slowly started kind of shedding off, like, well, okay, like I figure out that most of this is a lot of this is Hellenistic. I can see a lot of the Hellenistic plays into that, and so my whole thing is, okay, well, is this Hellenistic? Okay, well, I can't get with it if it's Hellenistic. And I've been doing a lot of study on Hellenistic, Zoroaster. Judaism comes from Zoroaster. So a lot of Zoroaster stuff is mixed in with Judaism. So I can't even sit here and say that a lot of the stuff, a lot of philosophies, a lot of not only people believe in, to not only people believe in, didn't come from Zoroaster. Just like I could say that a lot of stuff that British people believe in it can be Hellenistic. We have to be mindful that a lot of our captivities embedded into our culture. There are certain philosophies and stuff like that. And our goal is if we're going to be set apart, we need to be set apart. Okay, if we're going to be holy, we need to be holy, and holy or Kodesh, we need to be set apart. So we need to figure out exactly what is, and if to not only, if a New Testament person can come and be like, okay, well, no, that's Hellenistic. That's not really, that's not how it really goes, or that's not really what it really means, and stuff like that. Then I'm like, okay, well, I can see that, and that's why, and shout out to the Divine Process, because he's doing that. He's trying to shut off the whole Hellenistic, but yet he's still into the New Testament. So I was trying to see, okay, well, what do you actually believe about the New Testament? Let me see what you actually kind of rock with the New Testament. Just one thing I don't rock with is your homie Paul. Can't get with Paul. Paul, like, I can't get with Paul. I'm sorry. Like, and I got a whole spiel on Paul. Like he was a Roman. Yeah, try me. Let me. I'll break it down to you.
You're gonna get you on the show and definitely have you do something about that. Class, whatever. Hear your perspective on that. Right now, you got like maybe 4 more minutes left. I'm giving everybody 20 minutes, to say their piece. Again, audience number C1. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. Because I want the audience to know the number and the press.
Yeah. Let the audience know what's going on. The number is 319-527-6239. If you just joined us, today's show is Fact Check Volume 3, after the trial special of the offenders of the New Testament. This is a bonus edition right here on Debate Talk Radio. We don't got all the special guests here, but we do have some of them that were here May 18th on the trial. If you missed that trial, just go back to the YouTube page, go to iTunes in the podcast section, take out Debate Talk for You, and subscribe and check that out. So I want to ask you a question. Like I said, there's only 4 more minutes left, and I've got to go to the next person. And we're going to come back to you, of course, in the rebuttal session. But being that, do you get any flack for saying that there's some parts of the New Testament that you do subscribe to? And do you actually try to bring some of those points to your Torah-only brethren? Do you get any flack for that?
I get a lot of flack. I made a live video not too long ago, and I shared it onto your page about simply, there's a whole division, and I made the whole video because of the simple fact that I put out on a post that if you believe in going off of what Brother Josh was getting at, if they believe in the New Testament, let them believe in it, let them be. Don't argue with them. Don't try to down them or degrade them or anything like that. Let them, if that's what they get, obviously they know something that you just don't understand. They probably understand it a little bit better than you do. If you don't get with it, fine. That's fine. And I made the video because a not only sister attacked me because of a brother who just so happens just to quote one of the Gospels verses. And she automatically just started calling him a Hebrew heathen. And I got heated off of that. I got mad, because it completely defeated my purpose. And I end up going after her, in the sense of, like, you don't need to be doing that. This is supposed to be about peace. We're supposed to be in shalom and stuff like that. Don't do that. And she got mad at me. And I'm like, look, okay, and I had to cut her off just over Messianic, and she thinks that I'm, choosing a Messianic or a Hebrew heathen that she used over her. And I'm like, no, let Yah do his will. Obviously the Most High is working with them in a certain way. That you can't just go around calling Hebrew and think, Hebrew heathen or calling somebody a heathen and think that the Most High is just going to cut them off because they're a heathen. Because we really look at Cyrus. Cyrus was a heathen. He was Zoroaster. But then the Most High still called him a Messiah, his anointed, and he still used him to free Israel. So we can't knock off of people or what they believe in or whatsoever and think that the Most High is not using it, or whatsoever. Just try to find common ground and then just move on with that, And I'm gonna relinquish with that because I don't want to keep on going, but I'm a yield with that, and let's keep this peaceful. Let's keep this shalom. We brothers at the end of the day.
All right. Can you hear me? Okay, there we go. My mic is back on. All right, we appreciate you once again. We're going to come back around, Mary. We're going to come back around. Like I said, I just want to get everybody's perspective on what he thought about the trial. The number is 319-527-6239. I see that you're in the building. We appreciate you. And I got a text from Robert Reed. Rob, I don't see, there's a lot of people on the phone lines. You got to press number 1 so I can see you on the switchboard. Press number 1. I see we have 1 or 2 people that press number 1 that may have a question or comment. We're going to get to you guys later on, but let's go down the line and get some more of the feedback from the special guest. Let's go to my brother, actually filling in for Anonymous BA. What's going on, BA?
Yo, what's the word, Sal? Much love. What's good?
All right, pretty good, man. Being that you're very close to Anonymous Hebrew, and we appreciate you filling in for him. You have 20 minutes. Give us your perspective, man. What do you thought about the trial?
Well, you don't have to give me the whole 20 minutes. I'll just say this. First, I would like to commend all the individuals who participated in the whole trial, those who asked questions and those who were answering questions. It takes a whole lot to push yourself out there on the front line and to be under that kind of scrutiny on both sides. I would also like to say there's one individual that stood out to me personally, Chris Harris. I'm going to tell you why. Prior to the trial, me and him, we had our little minor issues. We were able to humble ourselves and apologize and man up about it and be respectful and settle it. And ever since then, after the trial, me and him have been pretty good. And there were some things in the trial that I noticed that, in my opinion, he carried himself pretty well, and I'm going to continue to keep that brother in prayer. But overall, a lot was answered that night. A whole lot was answered. I most definitely see a butchering of the text when it comes to the New Testament. We have individuals who are going to be honest, and we have individuals who are going to blatantly just make up lies or play the role like they ain't never read the New Testament before, even though we have individuals who have admitted that they were Christians or New Testament believers prior to going to the way they are now. So I find it to be very disrespectful and a lack of integrity to go about saying something that the book says and where it clearly doesn't say it. I don't have to get into the specifics. You guys know what I'm talking about. And let's see. I also appreciate the brothers, Bishop Eliyahu. I think he brought some real good questions to the table that really, really put a few of the brothers on the other side. A few of the brothers had to humble themselves and just be like, you know what, I'm not able to give you that answer or whatever it may be. But overall, speaking for Anonymous, not speaking for him, but just commend him for stepping up to the plate and for those last 2 rounds going in and delivering the knockout blow for the win for the Messianics. And that's pretty much it, Sal. I don't really have much. I just wanted to chime in personally, but if you want to ask some more questions, go right ahead.
Yeah, stand by. We're going to ask you some more questions. Once again, the number is 319-527-6239. Again, we have a lot of people on the phone lines. We appreciate you. Again, Blog Talk Radio, they're working on some of the kinks, but, just keep trying to call in. Again, the number is 319-527-6239. We're opening up the phone lines for the audience later on to ask some of their questions and their comments. And, of course, we're just getting some of the feedback from the special guests that were on the trial in itself and, just talk about some of the things that happened after. So, again, if you want to chime in, the number is 319-527-6239. Now, Brother B.A., as far as the show, you heard the show pretty much, and what is it that you think that needs to be tweaked, that needs to be better in regards to the trial?
As far as the process, or be more specific?
Yeah, you can talk about the process first and then anything else.
Well, it was most definitely our first time that we did something like that on the Debate Talk for You program, as far as I know. And it went just about 5 hours long. So next time around, I'm pretty sure that since you're the producer and you're the boss, I'm pretty sure, man, you'll most definitely will know what to do and what not to do next time around. But overall, to be honest, man, that 5 hours was much needed because we actually found out a whole lot about a lot of individuals who claim to know Torah. See, and this is my thing. I don't walk around here making it seem like I know everything. People who know me, I tell people I'm a student. I will be forever learning the scriptures. That's one thing I learned under Judah and Zadok, being under those brothers, and even to this day, those still my older brothers in faith. So we are forever students, and we're forever learning of this intellect spirit called Yahweh. So the thing is that I don't ever go around telling people I'm Torah this, I'm Torah that, or I'm Christ this, or I'm Christ that. I'm a follower and a student of the teachings of the whole Bible, the document called the Old Covenant and the document called the New Covenant, or the Renewed Covenant, as my sister Shanti would say. So I don't walk around here with an ego. I may get passionate. I may be aggressive at times, but brothers who know me behind the scenes know I don't mean to be aggressive. That's how I am. I'm very passionate about the Word of God. I love speaking about the Word of God. I love reading my scriptures, but I don't have an ego. I'm not going to walk around here and say one thing and then all of a sudden come to find out you don't know much about the book that you claim that you know so well. To me, that's so hip. My man Josh was saying last week, we have individuals in this community who just lack integrity because now all of a sudden the folly has been exposed. Another thing I would say is that I would commend Chris Harris for stepping up and for letting people know that he does not support what's being taught about the New Testament when it comes to the Virgin Mary having sex with the Holy Spirit. That is a complete massacre of the text, and I can appreciate Brother Harris for stepping up to the plate and having enough sense and enough decency to say that he doesn't teach that because he understands the text don't say it at all. So much love to that brother. Like I said, all love and respect to you. Now, for those individuals who are going to question it, I'm going to say something to the Torah-only community on the Debate Talk for You platform. There are plenty of individuals who are Torah-only who know for a fact that the New Testament don't teach the Holy Spirit had sex with Mary. Come on, we're adults. We're all grown. Common sense will tell you that. Come on now. Let's be honest. Let's stop lying. And if you're going to call yourself Torah only, you're bearing false witness. You're butchering the book. And we can go right here, Sal. Keep going. Got any more questions?
Oh, yeah, man. Once again, the number is 319-527-6239. Like we mentioned earlier, Anonymous Hebrew is unable to make it, but he definitely gives his support and his love, and wish he can be here for this particular night. Right here on Debate Talk for You Radio. He is listening. I know he is listening to the show, so we appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? But he's not feeling well to make it to be able to speak on a particular program tonight right here on Debate Talk for You. But BA is filling in for him. And being that you're representing for BA, Anonymous Hebrew, what did you feel as far as Anonymous? What did he bring to the table? How did you feel about his performance, so to speak, on the trial? Go ahead.
One thing about Anonymous is that I know him personally. He's a brother of mine, and I appreciate him. I love him to death. Much love to you, Why? He has a concern for just to make sure that the text is being taught properly. Our thing is, if you don't agree with the New Testament, walk away, close the book, and teach us Torah. There was an individual that said to me when I first spoke to him on the pain and the prophecy, I'll say Brother Mays. And he said something to me when I called in when I was trying to ask a question. He said that it was something that he said, and let me see if I can remember his exact words. He said, once we clean up the mess y'all made when it comes to this Jesus dude, then we can teach Torah. I'm going to keep it real with you, Mays. This is not to attack you personally. I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can teach Torah without even attacking Christ, even mentioning Christ. To be honest with you, to butcher the New Testament so bad, I clearly see that you are going to, whenever you call yourself trying to teach, butcher that as well. So I don't appreciate your actions, brother. I really don't. It's not cool when you foul. I can smell you from a distance.
All right, can you guys? Okay, my mic is good now. My mic keep backing up, man. All right, so once again, guys, Fact Check Volume 3 after the trial special. The number is 319-527-62. We're going to hear from everybody. We're going to hear from Dayvaughn Mays. We're going to hear from everybody that called in. We're trying to still get everybody here, though. We do have majority of the teams that were on trial that night are here right now, but we're trying to get everyone here. So, if not, be patient. Of course, like I said, Anonymous Hebrew's not going to be able to be here because he's not feeling well. But everybody else, we're going to try to get them on the panel right here on Debate Talk Radio. But all right, Brother BA, you said your piece. You represent on the behalf of Anonymous. Any last words you want to say before we go to the next person?
All I would say is that I respect all people's opinions when it comes to the Bible. If you're not going to rock with the New Testament, don't rock with it. But if you're going to have something against it, have something valid. Pick something that's worth discussing. That's open for questioning. But to pick something like the Holy Spirit had sex with Mary, come on, man. That's not, come on, seriously. We a bunch of grown folks. My 7-year-old daughter know the difference between that. But with that being said, I'm going to fall back, say all much love to all. Shalom.
All right, man, we appreciate you. Once again, it's Debate Talk for you, Fact Check Volume 3. It's the bonus edition, special edition right here on Debate Talk Radio. Right now it's past 9 o'clock. You have another hour on the air. We're going to go into the overtime part of the show. I pretty much guarantee that. You're going to go into the overtime part of the show. Again, the number is 319-527-6239. Let's go to the next special guest. Let's go to my brother, Chris Harris. Chris Harris, welcome.
Yeah, welcome back. What's going on, Sal? Yeah.
What's going on, man? You got your 20 minutes, brother. Anything that you want to say? Again, of course, I'm going to ask you some questions in the process, too. But go ahead.
Okay, the first thing I want to do is we're going to discuss the trial, New Testament on trial. And that was the name of the trial, and I want to give everybody a recap of the trial. I want to give a recap of the trial. It was called the New Testament on trial, and everybody had specific people they wanted to ask questions to. Now, of course, whenever you're set in a belief or you're set in a doctrine or you're set on your understanding, such as Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy or the Easter Bunny, the first thing you're going to do when you are being told something different about any of those, myths, you're gonna get upset. So I definitely understand emotion on both sides, and you can still hear it now that it's still personal. But the one thing we have to do moving forward is examine the text. Let's read the text, and let's see what we have in front of us. Now, that being said, it was called the New Testament on trial. A lot of the trial was, let's say, for instance, you would hear our beloved brother, Bishop Eliyahu, who me and him had a great conversation a couple of nights ago. Can't wait to come back on your show. He would somewhat teach you what he believes, and then he would ask you a question. So instead of the questions coming out, he would do a lot of teaching on what his understanding of the book is. And then you would only get 2 minutes to answer the question. Now, if that's how it was, if that's a trial in a real trial, the judge would cut you off and say, just ask the questions. They wouldn't let you get up there and say why you killed somebody or why you broke the law. They would tell you you're badgering the witness or you're badgering the defendant. Now, to Anonymous Hebrew's credit, he did ask a lot of New Testament questions, and he asked a lot of New Testament questions pertaining to the trial itself. Just all in all, it was, I was just like, okay, I get it. I understand what we have here in front of us. With Sal's time and more donations coming forth, I would like to do a lesson called the New Testament Revisited. And I'll do a new lesson based on the teachings of Yahushua, and let's try and get a broader understanding. on and let's show everybody what we agree with, what he taught, okay, and who he is. Because I think from the New Testament side or Messianic side, we're all Messianic. You know what I'm saying? The Most High anointed many saviors. He anointed many prophets. He anointed many people. Okay, Israel themselves are anointed. You understand what I'm saying? All his anointed had a specific job, or they were chosen to do a specific thing. So the trial, if I gave it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it maybe an 8, because it allowed me to mend a lot of relationships that were severed. Because now I'm seeing God in all people, in all things now. And these are some of the things the Essenes and the Christ of the New Testament taught. Sometimes people get upset when I say Jesus, so I'll just say Yahushua. I'll just say that. You get confused on what name to use, but that's neither here nor there. So, I'm trying to, what I've now come to understand is God is in all living things. He placed his breath in all living things, created it, saw it was good. We should be doing as a people, whether black or white or anything. It's just simply sharing our experiences with each other so we can learn from each other. This is why he states in the book, you're not loving each other. And this is why you have all these detestable things, these abominable things, and you have a lot of spiritual terrorism going on in the Israel conscious community now. When me and BA fell out, it was a hard falling out because me and BA had never fallen out before. You know what I'm saying? Never had a problem with BA. But, we mended our differences, and you said, when we look back at it now, I kind of scratched my head and said, what was we arguing about? Emotion, because he's set on a belief, I'm set on a belief, and sometimes emotions come out. And as men, we can't really be over emotional because bad things get said that don't need to be said. And I praise the Creator that he allows BA to still be my brother, because I was saying some nasty stuff, and after the trial, I realized, and this is what I realized, that a lot of that needed to get out. I want to continue on. A lot of things needed to get out as far as what I was dealing with, because when I gave my number out, I think, Sal, was it a year and a half ago on Debate Talk for You Radio, my phone was always constantly blowing up. And when I saw things in the Old Testament, I was like, oh, snap, this is the truth, right? So all I wanted to do was debate it, right? But you're not understanding that you're severing relationships. Now, I could walk around and tell everybody, yeah, I'm smashing your idol. Yeah, I'm tearing your book up. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? But what is that doing to the individual that you're speaking to? You see what I'm saying? You're drawing a sword on that person, and he starts to feel bad. You understand what I'm saying? And then after you get done beating his doctrine all up, what ends up happening? He don't really want to talk to you anymore. You know what I'm saying? And now you've wasted a relationship. And this goes on the Kemet side. This goes on the metaphysics side. It just doesn't go on dealing with the scriptures. It goes on all over. And anywhere we're at and we're involved in these debates, we take it personal. And after the trial, I think it was like days later, I was at work and Sal sent me a text and said Bishop Eliyahu was on, and he had a show on called Tanakh Only Tactics. And, I tuned in and I listened to it, and I said, well, send me an invite and let's come on here. So me and the bishop, we end up having a dialogue. Scriptures teach, the law teaches that your brother must be present when you speak about him. I will never speak about Dayvaughn Mays in a negative light when he's not around, because that's my brother. I will never speak about BA, MarieEL, Anonymous. How much money you donate, man? I'm just playing. I will never speak about that. Zadok alone, I will never do that when they're not there. But I will uplift my brother when they're not in somebody else's, when they're not around. I will uplift them and talk positively about them. And that's what we're supposed to be doing. If we're not sharing our experiences in this life, because we have a short life, it's so short. You understand what I'm saying? It's so short. Then we're not going to be able to grow. You know, and like I said, doctrine is doctrine. Teachings are teachings. Let's share our teachings with each other. You know what I'm saying? And I know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I realized I could just go back to doing that and being the nice guy, a.k.a. Torah-only guy that all the Christians like. You know, somebody once said that on the show. I don't like mentioning that name anymore. So, you know, I got frustrated in the trial because I felt like, yes, there were some personal attacks, but that's fine. That's fine. That's expected. You know what I'm saying? Nobody on this panel are lawyers. Nobody's on this panel are lawyers, so they don't understand the psychology of a real trial. So, I calmly bowed out, even when I lost my temper, because I felt like, hey, if you're going to ask me questions, you don't have to insult anybody after the question. You understand what I'm saying? I'm reading straight out of the book. And yes, that's the one thing I do love about the law, because the law will cut you. And this law will prove you to be a liar. But as far as the trial goes, it helped me understand, hey, I can build and not destroy. And that's what Chris Harris is focused on right now, is just building and not destroying. So, yeah, go ahead, Sal.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, man. Okay. All right. Once again, the number's 319-527-6239. Yeah, this Mike, man. But I'm glad you can hear me, though. But as far as, I know you're going to do some lessons in the future, Chris. You said touching on the New Testament, right? Some New Testament things. Do you want to let the audience know what are some of the topics you're going to be addressing? I think you mentioned it. I'm going to do a lesson on the Essenes and who they were, the Sadducees and the Pharisees. I'm going to do a lesson on them, and I'm going to correlate it with today. All right? And then I want to do another lesson in the future called Negroes Don't Fit the Prophecy, but Jesus Does. Now, that's not a knock on the New Testament. Y'all got to hear the lesson. I put that lesson together. And like I said, it's going to be called Negroes Don't Fit the Curses. I'm not talking about Deuteronomy 28, but I'm going to say, but Jesus does. And when they hear it, sometimes you can't look at the cover of the book. You have to hear the lesson first in order to see what I'm going to touch on. And when you see it, I guarantee you, you're going to love it. But as we all know, Chris Harris can be a bit controversial, and that's what I'm trying to tone down on. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to be fair when giving a lesson. And when we see some of the things that Yeshua of Nazareth, or some people called him a Galilean, when they see the lesson, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I get it," and they'll begin to see what was really going down. This is not a one West-based lesson. This is not a knock on his character, because I believe he had a beautiful character. All right. So with that being said, that's what I'm gonna do lessons on, and I'm gonna line it up with timelines and antiquity. So, yeah, those are just some of the lessons I want to do on. Yep. All right, so, season 9, going down September, we're going to hear some of them lessons from Chris, September 17th to be exact. And again, that number is 319-527-6239. So, like I said to ask MarieEL earlier, and you heard that part of it, and he does subscribe to some parts of the New Testament. Is that safe to say when it comes to you as well? Or you want to make some clarity when it comes to that, when it comes to the New Testament part of it?
I agree with, me and a friend of mine, we were on the phone one time. Shout out to Kevin G if he's listening. And whenever Jesus was speaking, I was just staying on the Torah-only side. I said, see what he's quoting? He's quoting Jeremiah. See what he's quoting? He's quoting Isaiah. See what he's quoting? He's quoting Jeremiah 17:5 right here. And Kevin G was like, whoa, he is. I'm all like, so this is why they called him the living word, because he understood it. And this is with the Essenes. I'm not giving that away right now. I'm not giving it away. But yes, I do agree with what he talks. You understand what I'm saying? When pertaining to the law. You know what I'm saying? There are some things in this book that I don't agree with, but according to the law, I do see him keeping the law. Real quick, Sal, can you bring BA in for 1 second? Can you bring him in for 1 second? Can you do that?
Yeah, let me find him. Hold on. Let me find him on the switchboard. Go ahead, BA. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Chris.
Hello?
Hey, what up, BA? Hey, BA, what's the name of that book you told me, the PDF by Paul? That what was the name of that book you told me to order?
James R. Harrison. That's the author. And the name of the book is called The Imperial Powers of Rome and Thessalonica.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
all right, Salah. Okay, thank you. I didn't want to say that the name of that book and give a wrong disclaimer on it, but I recently downloaded that book. That book has a lot of powerful information in it. And that's what I'm about right now. I want to take Sal's show back to being the way it was when it was about the information. Everybody of all faiths should be able to come on here and bring forth their information without it being an argument or spiritual terrorism, because we are a spiritual people. Okay, we can out-Christian the Christians, out-Muslim the Muslims, out-Judaism the Judaism. You know what I'm saying? So we shouldn't be doing that. It's got to be about the information moving forward. And don't worry, me, DA, Anonymous, and a couple of other brothers, we working on all that spiritual terrorism and getting all that nonsense out of here. So there you have it.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned, how Debate Talk for You started and the beginning portion. Let them know what you always tell me behind the scenes. What I always used to tell the people all the time. let them know that I need to probably say some more.
Hey man, let's not take it to social media. Let's keep everything clean, and let's keep the conference call to the conference call. You say it every single time on the conference call. Sunday we had a conference call. And, it was a pretty good conference call. And, Anonymous hated my idea. Shout out to Anonymous. He hated it so bad, but he loved it at the same time. And, I really wanted that to happen today, but we decided to do this. You decided to do this, which is fair. Give us a chance to speak also. So, yeah.
Yeah, I got to give you an update on that as well, behind the scenes. But, yeah, most definitely.
Yes,
once again, the number is 319-527-6239. We have Chris Harris right now. Again, this is after the trial special. They're just talking about, some of the things they experienced after the trial. Let me see the timer. We have about 4 more minutes for you, Chris. Anything when it comes to the YouTube threads, because, on YouTube, when the show is over, people start saying things. Anything that you want to address in regards to, after the trial and the things that were said in the comment boards or maybe personally to you? Go ahead. You have 4 minutes to address that.
Okay. Well, sometimes the best theological battles go on in the thread. You understand what I'm saying? But sometimes people do make them personal. Notice I haven't been in the threads in a long time. I just stay out of it. But to the so-called Sodomites, you guys have been thoroughly exposed. In order for you to sit up there and call any one of the contestants out on, or any of the speakers on Debate Talk for You Radio, the first thing you all have to do is debate me on why you have a homosexual in your group that teaches witchcraft, and you guys just last Saturday, he said he was doing it, and you have to teach why you all hate your own people and teach Masonry before you can even come on Debate Talk for You Radio, commenting on any thread. And if anybody wants the video, I took it off my YouTube channel. You can email me at chrisharris313@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to give it to you. And you can see with your own eyes. If you thought Josh from ABT exposed some things, wait till you see this. And I have no love for the wicked. I'm allowed to do that. That's what the Torah says. Pull the beam out your own eye. Let's do that. But don't come on this board with that nonsense when you guys are guilty of breaking every law according to Torah.
Anything else?
That's about it, man. We're gonna come back around, of course. We're gonna come back around and hear some rebuttals, like 10 minutes each from everybody. But we still got some more people on the phone lines that were a part of the show. Again, the number is 319-527-6239. Again, this is the bonus edition of After the Trial Special. Let's go to the next person real quick. Let's go to Zadok. What's going on, Zadok?
Hey, God bless you, bro. What's up with the family? God bless to the Debate Talk for You audience. How y'all doing this fine evening? How you doing?
All right, pretty good, man. So, let's know what you thought about the trial, man. Give us your perspective, brother. You got 20 minutes to go in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I won't use the full 20 minutes. It's not necessary. This is my 6th or 7th season in the Debate Talk for You forum. So for those who know about me and what I represent, I represent the gospel of God given to us through his great Messiah, Jesus. And you also understand that I believe and support the Torah of God, which is his instruction for not only Israel, but for all humanity. It teaches us righteousness. In the context of the discussion that we had, I want to thank the brothers who participated. I was able to be cordial and respectable with every man I spoke with, even though I knew I was talking to people who actually speak against Jesus the Christ, because I wasn't there to represent me. If I'm there to represent me, then it's a whole other thing, but I was there to represent the king that I believe in and serve. And what I'm teaching my sons and what God has me out here in the communities doing, and what I'm giving to men real time to believe that this is the thing that will help them save their lives if they only will be obedient and submit to God. The discussion was called Offenders of the New Testament on Trial. I was not there to put the New Testament writings of God on trial. Offenders of the New Testament. And my goal and belief was that the reason they're offenders is because of their lack of understanding what we call the Old Testament. And since I believe that God has given me revelation in both, through education and through spending time in meditation through his Ruach HaKodesh, I didn't have to say nothing. Anytime the New Testament was brought up with someone I was speaking with, they went and brought it up because they tried. It was almost like I felt like some of the brothers were, in their response, they were trying to put the New Testament on trial. The New Testament was not on trial. They were. And their understanding of the things that they're spewing out of the Old Testament to claim what's in the New Testament isn't relevant, isn't real, is false, this, that, and the third. So I'm not understanding if I'm doubting that they understood the purpose of the trial. It was not our job to ask them what they understood about the New Testament. It's clear they are already offenders. I want to know how you are bringing up these prophecies. So when I talked with Brother Dayvaughn, I didn't get a chance to talk to Chris. Chris was at work. I spoke with Dayvaughn, I spoke with Eylon, and I spoke with, I believe the brother name is MarieEL. Forgive me if I said that wrong. My point was to take them into the Old Testament and give them an opportunity, put them on trial about what is it that they understand it. It was about them. It wasn't about me endlessly running to prove Jesus. I already serve Christ. There is nothing that they can tell me about it. There's not one thing they'll ever say that will take me away from my belief in Christ. You understand? In Jesus the Christ. So what was I there for? To challenge their understanding of the entire Bible. And I'm convinced that there is no oneness in that community. But I will tell you that on the side of the table I came from, there could be some things that me and brothers see differently, but we are all in unison that Christ is the revealed salvation of the God of heaven, and that Christ started to bring to pass some of the things written in the prophets. You know, it's interesting, brothers and sisters. David was anointed as king. Now, did he get to sit on his throne yet? Not exactly. David had to run around for a whole nother decade. But you know the reason why he was destined to be king? Because he had the anointing oil on him. So no matter what he went through, no matter how it looked, to the point that this man had to leave the borders of Israel and had to go live among the Philistines. And him and his soldiers, who later on came back after the death of Saul and took the kingdom and became the beginnings of the new ways and the new rebuilding of the nation of Israel, do you know that they fought? They fought for Philistine warlords who served Dagon. David, in order to protect himself, faked like he was retarded and was drooling on his beard. And when he was brought before the lords of the Philistines, and David put on this display like he was Michael J. Fox or something with the onset of Parkinson's. He up there shaking and drooling on his beard. And they said, is this the great warrior of Israel? Nah, look, we ain't worried about him. Let him live free among the people. And David became a warlord for about 5 years and fought for the Philistines. And it came to a point, him and his men were so dedicated that when it was war between the Philistines and Israel, David, the great David, actually was willing to go and fight against his own brothers. The man who had helped him protect his wives and his children and his brothers' lives from Saul's threats, David and him was willing to fight their own brothers if need be. But the Philistine king said, you know what? No, let David and his men stay back because they're great warriors and they fight for us. But if they see us getting the advantage over their brothers, their heart will change. What I'm trying to point out is this. Everything isn't as it seems. Being anointed as the king of Israel does not mean that it has to happen right away. And the Lord showed us just in a small example that David is definite. The Lord told Samuel, I have already chosen a man after my heart to be king. I'm done with Saul. But do we see the process that it took for Saul to slowly go away and for David to slowly gain reputation? But David suffered the entire time in order to become king on the throne. This is written of Yeshua in the spirit of the prophets. And you know how I know? Because when I asked the brother alone about his understanding of the Mishnah, and then I got into the greater understanding of the Talmud, which is the Mishnah, you got the Gemara, and all of this together. The rabbis who, and the ones who they say are the judges, that brother kept pointing out how even Jesus himself was saying that, what the Pharisees and them teach, is valid because they sit in Moses' seat. So you can't, on one hand, accept some of their judgments as the only thing they had to offer. Also, the understanding that they believe the Ruach gave them. And you know that they sat up and they talked about the Messiah in a way that I don't hear a lot of these brothers talk, because they're not really students of these men. They're just taking what they want. They are free agents. They have no real teachers. They are all sitting out here searching for truth. And I'm not saying this to diss them. I'm giving my observance. So my thing is this. They're not all together. These men didn't sit on a panel as brothers united as one. They kind of remind me of what happened in India with Gandhi when he wanted to free his people from British colonial rule. Gandhi came together with Christian Indians, Muslim Indians, Hindu Indians, and secular Indians. And they came together for a quick moment just to fight against the British. And as soon as the British was gone, they split up and they fought war against each other because they weren't really united in heart. They just had one particular cause they were willing to unite for 1 minute. And that's how I'm looking at them brothers. But I don't hate them. But I'm telling you like this right now. Any man who's going to sit up and on one hand call me his brother, but then going to turn around and call me an idol worshiper, that man is saying that I actually deserve death according to Torah. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. I'm not convinced that you look at me as your brother and that I'm someone that you would come to bat for, that I'm someone you would defend. I'm saying, prove me wrong, but I'm not convinced of it. But I'm telling you that in spite of you rejecting Christ, he already told us, anyone who would speak against me, man, they'll be forgiven. But the man who would call his brother a fool, he is the one who is in danger of hellfire, because a fool is someone who would claim there is no God. So I want them brothers to be careful on the energy that they coming at us with. And on one hand, trying to use the word brother just for the sake of conversation. But outside of that, there is nothing brotherly about that. A brother is running around, he keep referring to Jesus as the Christian God. A brother asks him, hey, just for the sake of respect, while we conversating, this is something that bothers me. I'm asking you not to say that. For the sake of just the conversation, no, I can't do that. Oh, okay, cool. That is not someone who loves you. They know you've let it be known you're offending me with that. But yet, no, I'm here to make my point. I'm not here to be a brother with you. So all I'm saying to y'all is let's not sugarcoat this thing and act like we got off and it's all kumbaya between us. I'm Zadok Ben Israel. Whoever want to reach out to me and build with me, reach out to me and build with me. I'm easy to find like a stop sign. But understand when you come to the table, I am a disciple, a student of Jesus the Christ. And everything he taught me is what I will bring to the table. And I don't think that a lot of these brothers, I'll end it with this. Besides alone, maybe he used to be supposedly a Christian. I'm not sure. But I know that the others on the line had an experience as supposedly being Christians before. What I'm telling you is that, especially Dayvaughn Mays, the conclusions he came to and the arguments he made convinces me that when he thought he was a follower of Jesus, maybe he was in a sense, but he was not one who had understanding. He did not understand the New Testament then, because if he did, his questions would have been grounded in more reality, and he would have asked us questions that were clearly what the New Testament is saying. Almost every point he made was clearly what the New Testament wasn't teaching, and because of that, I know that you left something because you never understood it, and now that you're trying to learn something, because he admitted he was asked some questions by Eliyahu and others that was like, hey, I think we're showing that you're not really as fully capable in this Old Testament or this Torah that you defending. I think that's was proven about him. He fire off 100 scriptures in a minute, but he not firing off one lick of understanding, in my opinion. And I ain't got no problem saying that. So if he ever want to talk with me again, I've already had one discussion with him. You know, as long as we can be cordial about it, I'm willing to do that again. So I think that my brothers did well in showing that these offenders of the New Testament are not as skilled in their own Torah. I asked the brother alone I asked him about Daniel chapter 7. His answer was, these things are kind of difficult and blah, blah. No, they're not difficult. They difficult for you. They ain't difficult for us. We can easily break down to you what it is. How you didn't know that just in the chapter previous, it easily broke down to you what that was. But that's how unstudied he is in the entire Tanakh, that when I asked him specific things about what he understood about Daniel 7, he couldn't explain it, at least on the air. So why should I really be listening to him as if he just can really tell me for sure? He's going to tell me he don't know what it all means, but going to try to tell me it definitely ain't talking about Jesus. How's somebody going to tell you, I don't know what all of this really talking about, but what I do know it ain't talking about is this? No, that's impossible. If you can't tell me what all this means, then you can't tell me what none of it means. I'm talking about me. So I addressed specific things that I think was exposed, and I think that these brothers need to continue to go ahead and search your book. And if they ever want to get at us again, God willing, I'm around to sit down with my brothers who love the nation and understand the salvation revealed to us through the person of Yeshua HaMashiach, a.k.a. Jesus the Christ. So, yeah, that's all I really got to say about it.
All right, family. Once again, the number is 319-527-6239. This is a bonus edition of the Fact Check Volume 3, After the Trial Special, Offenders of the New Testament. We're just hearing from all the special guests that were part of that particular program, the On Trial show. If you missed it, go back to the archives, go check it out, and you can check it out on iTunes and, of course, Blog Talk Radio and on YouTube. Now, Zadok, are you surprised to hear some of the brothers on the panel actually are saying that and letting the world know that they do subscribe to some things that's New Testament? Are you surprised by that, or are you not surprised? And what is your perspective on that?
No, not really, not in a way. But I mean, it's not. Look, of course you're going to see wisdom in the New Testament. You're going to see it, but you know what? I don't care about you seeing some wisdom in the writings of the New Testament. Do you receive and understand that the only salvation that's been shown to us is in the life of who we understand to be Jesus the Christ. An atheist can read the New Testament. I mean, look, Polite then said the same thing. So am I impressed? No. Polite, the comedic, free-thinking RBG, whatever he is. Polite, the modern comedic philosopher guy. I know who I'm talking about. I've heard him on more than one occasion say, I see some wisdom in some things that your Jesus said. So why would I take from someone who would totally sit up and tell us we follow an idol? But then they say, but there's some things over there, that's cool. So what? That don't make me never mind. I'm a Christian rapper. There's some gangster rappers I think really got some skill, but I still don't agree with their message. So,
Yeah, you got like 4 more minutes left. Any last words you want to say before we go on to the next person? And also, did you get any feedback personally? Did you get any feedback personally after the trial? Did anybody reach out to you? Did you hear anything that you might want to address publicly?
No, not really. I don't think none of these dudes want no smoke with me. I mean, all I got reached out to was from Messianics, who said, man, praise God, brother, that is people out here to defend the faith with no malice, but yet no back down. So that's all I really got from it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sorry I came in late. I'm in Tennessee right now with my brother in the faith. We went into a prison today, and we preached the gospel of Jesus Christ to 200 inmates. And it seemed that God's will is for us to go back in there tomorrow and do the same thing. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. I ain't got no problem saying what I'm saying because I'm going places where lives are being impacted and people are being changed. So I don't know what other dudes is doing. All I know is what I'm doing and what my brothers is doing. And we out here standing on it. And if need be, I'm willing to die for it. You understand what I'm saying? So, man, it is what it is. I ain't got nothing else to say.
All right, man. So we appreciate you. We're going to come back around, like I said. We're going to come back around. Well, let's go to Dayvaughn Mays. Dayvaughn, you there? Yeah.
Shalom, I'm here.
All right,
Hello?
So you got your 20 minutes. Yep, you got 20 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, well, it sounds like the trial's all over again, everybody coming after me. Now, last time I checked, this is debate talk for you and not church. But, as far as all the stuff I teach, I don't understand this, I don't understand that. How do you come to these conclusions? I don't see no rebuttals to none of the lessons that I've done. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't understand so much, then how come I can't refute the lessons that I've done? And concerning what B.A. said, if you could smell so well, bro, smell your way into the ring. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't smell no fear on me from you or who you rock with. So I'll just let that be said since you want to go there with it. Christians got on here talking about peace, but all I hear is attacks on me, but that's cool. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I give too many scriptures. Sal say get your pen and pad. You know what I mean? The more witnesses I give, that's the more proof to my points. We only got so much time on the air, and there's so much information to get out there. But, yeah, it sounds like they don't want me in their book. You know what I mean? Especially dealing with this virgin birth. Now, what they don't want to address is who got Mary pregnant. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't the Holy Spirit, then who did it? Because everybody else had a husband. She wasn't barren. There was no need to interfere. We see, Sarah had a husband. Rebecca had a husband. All these barren women had men to deal with. So, none of the questions I brought on the comment board is being addressed from Josh's show last week. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think a lot of stuff was cherry-picked of what was said during the trials, dealing with Satan and evil. We see evil in the Tanakh, but the Most High says he sends the evil to Israel. He said he created evil. Nobody can go and show a rebellious Satan that he rebelled against the Most High. And I'm going to be doing a lesson on the henotheism. I'm going to be doing a lesson on the false doctrine of the virgin birth so I can actually talk and say what I need to say. So y'all don't want me in your book? Well, y'all going to have to get in the ring and shut me up. So I'm going to say that right there. Now, as far as Sal, you've been asking, I've been accused of only attacking the New Testament, but I have said a few times of what I agree with the New Testament that we actually do as Tanakh only actually do. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with keeping Torah, prayer, and repentance. That's all through the New Testament. The New Testament talks about prayer and repentance all the time. In Mark chapter 10, talking about eternal life, keep the commandments, sell everything you have, give to the poor. Well, we see charity through the Tanakh. We see lend to your brother. We see in Psalm 41, you get salvation when you lend to the poor. So we agree with a lot of stuff that Jesus says, and you know what I'm saying? So in the trials, it sounded like a few people brought out the Torah. Our Torah knowledge was being attacked, opposed to how are we offenders of the New Testament? Because we don't worship y'all's God. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're an offender. Are we offending because in Matthew 6 Jesus said to pray to God, let His name be hallowed? Nope. We see that same thing in the book of Psalms. David praying to the Most High the whole time. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is near. Do I not understand that? Of course I do. But that's in Ezekiel 18. Repentance. The whole chapter is about repent, and God will have mercy on you, and you will live and not die. So, the whole thing is, you don't understand the mystery. What Deuteronomy 30 tells you, the Torah is not too mysterious for us. Deuteronomy 29 tells you the secret things belong to the Most High, but the Torah belongs to us and our children, that we may do the words of this law. It don't say nothing about no mystery concerning eternal life. Jesus said in Luke 10, keep the commandments. What does the law say? When the lawyer asked him, what must I do for eternal life? He's quoting Deuteronomy 10:12, the requirements of the Israelites. So it's not that we don't understand the New Testament. We don't pray to y'all's God in His name, like He said to do in John 14:14. We don't ask nothing in His name. But when it comes to fasting and prayer and repentance and keeping the Torah, how are we offenders of the New Testament? Because we don't do it in your God's name, the new doctrine's name. So, yes, you can call us offenders all you want because we don't bend to how y'all get down. You know what I'm saying? So the main thing in the Torah is the fear of the Most High. We see this what King Solomon says at the end of the day, Ecclesiastes 12, fear God and keep His commandments. Now, Solomon, being the Messiah, didn't say nothing about you got to believe in the Messiah. He had a whole kingdom that believed he was the Messiah. Did they get forgiven for their sins? Nope. When David was crowned Messiah, was people forgiven for their sins? Nope. When Aaron was crowned Messiah, did people get forgiven of their sins for believing in Him? Nope. This is all new doctrine. That's what y'all want us to believe in, y'all's new doctrine. So we're not offenders of the New Testament. Offenders of the Tanakh. We're offenders of the New Testament because we don't do what y'all do. We don't do what the new teachings say to do. Proverbs 6:23 is the way to life. No mention of a Messiah. So all I hear tonight is attacks on me, which is cool. I expect that. Saying they came against the prophets, not to say that I'm a prophet, but when the prophet spit that Torah, that's all they did was come against them. And as far as saying, if I'm an idolater, you want me dead. Well, that's what the Torah say. It says in the book of Kings, what did Elijah do? Did he go make friends with the priests of Baal? No, they were executed because their God didn't show up. Their God didn't save them. Whoever they was calling on did not save them. The people that was getting crucified with JC says, if you are the Christ, save us in yourself. They died. What does it say in Isaiah 45? They pray to a God that cannot save. That's why we don't rock with your New Testament. It may take time and processes through the Tanakh, but the Messiah has a specific job requirement to do, and nowhere, you can't name one Messiah that said, eat me because I'm a representative of bread and drink my blood because it represents this, it represents that for life. No. David says, let me teach you the fear of the Lord. Why fear? Because fear is wisdom. Job 28. There I go with my scriptures again, proving my points. I'm not giving my opinions. Now, nobody, not even Moses himself, understood everything in the Torah, because when the dude was breaking the Sabbath, he had to go ask the Most High what to do with him. And this is after he done came down off the mountain. So nobody can get on here and claim that they got the whole Torah in their pocket. Not even Moshe Rabbeinu himself, the rabbi of all rabbis. So it don't work like that. I ain't never came on here and said that I knew everything. And I would be lying if I did. But I do know that everything that the New Testament talks about for salvation that we can find in the Tanakh, there's no reason to disagree what Jesus or Yeshua said about that. But everything else that is new doctrine, we have every right to say, no, I'm not doing that. In Psalm 16, it says, don't pour out drink offerings of blood to false gods or gods you don't know. There's no need to do that. No Messiah ever said things like this. Hezekiah had everybody repent, and they tore down altars. And what does it say in Isaiah 27? Tear down the altars, and that will be your atonement, Israel. No mention of no blood, no mention of believing Hezekiah was the Messiah, which he was, the anointed king of Israel. No, get rid of these idols. We see in the book of Daniel, Daniel prayed towards the temple, like Solomon said, for the Jew and the Gentile. Pray towards this place, and the Most High will hear you and forgive you and hear everything that you want him to do. He blessed Solomon's request. Whether the temple stood or not, Daniel was found innocent, is why the lions didn't eat him. He didn't have no high priest. He didn't get no sacrifices. But he says, I am innocent, O king. Daniel 6. He prayed 3 times a day according to the sacrifices. Now, why is it? Because it's saying in Psalm 141 that sacrifices is like incense. Incense gets you atonement. The Most High says, I hear those who fear me, and I save them. Was you trying to say something, Sal?
Oh, yeah, I want you to finish out. I just want to throw maybe 1 or 2 questions in there that, if you want to.
Go ahead.
Okay, you can finish it. Okay. All right, once again, the number is 319-527-6239. Family, I see we have a lot of people calling into the show. We appreciate you. And once again, the number is 319-527-6239. I see we have a lot of people pressing number 1. Hold on, y'all. We're going to get to y'all. We're going to hear from the people out there. But Dayvaughn Mays, let's make a few things clear for the audience out there, because I know you've seen a lot of responses after the fact in the YouTube or the comment section. I'm pretty sure you heard some personal perspectives after the trial from individuals. Are you being false? Do you think you're being falsely accused of coming in to the trial with a combative spirit, so to speak? Do you want to address that? And also, when it comes to, I read some of the comments on the YouTube page. Some people believe all you can really do when it comes to some of these shows is the Yeshua bashing, so to speak. Do you want to address any of those things now? Go ahead.
Sure. Well, as far as my approach to the scriptures is, like I said, when I first came on Debate Talk, I didn't come in as a Hebrew Israelite. I came in out of Christianity. I came in as, you could call me a Gentile, whatever you want to say. I couldn't prove my genealogy. But like I said earlier, I think Bishop Eliyahu asked me this question. I'm learning Torah from many teachers, black, white, Persian, whatever, anybody that's teaching Torah that's coming from the book. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I don't have all the answers. And I don't need to know all the answers because nobody's going to know all the answers. The Most High said, you're not going to know everything that I've been doing from the beginning to the end. So I didn't come in here with no arrogance or anything like that. But I do know that the New Testament teaches new doctrine. And of course, in the Messianic or the Christian community or Messianic, however you want to address that, some believe Jesus is God, some believe he ain't God. You know what I'm saying? So they divided as well. You know what I mean? You got Catholic and Methodist and Episcopalian and Messianic Jews, and I mean you got a whole, just like within the Tanakh only, you got different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? We nobody can deny that. But as far as being combative, I would say I would be combative only because the Torah, it does not tolerate idolatry. And the New Testament clearly teaches you to worship a God that nobody knew about. And again, this goes back to you don't understand the mystery, but there is no mystery to understand. The law, statutes, and commandments is not a mystery. Keep the Torah, pray in repentance and fasting and humility. We see this in the book of Joel. It says, return to me with fasting and weeping. It don't say return to me and believe in my Messiah. Even in Acts 27, it tells you that they were still fasting, and we know that's a yearly holiday that gets you all your sins forgiven. Why isn't that stressed in the New Testament? An actual holiday that gets all your sins cleaned away. Going back to the requirements, humility is big in the Torah. But as much Torah as Elijah knew, he had the priests of Baal executed. And on the flip side, the New Testament says if we don't believe in JC, we go into hell. So we might say y'all need to be executed according to the Torah if you're an idol worshiper, but your book tells us we go into hell if we don't believe in JC. So, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. So on both sides, we got people condemning somebody to what you whether call death or damnation, or because some translation in the New Testament says you will be damned. You can take that how you want to. So, you know what I mean? We didn't make up the rules. You know what I'm saying? So combative, you could call it combative just because I bring up the scriptures. But, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, in the debates that I've had, in the lessons that I've had, I should raise a lot of questions. I'm supposed to raise these questions because they don't get no answers. All we get is spiritual talk. We don't see all the spiritual talk in the Tanakh concerning the sons of David as a Messiah. Yeah, there's spiritual talk in the Tanakh for sure. But the sons of David came and taught the Torah to the people and physically did things. Hezekiah had to physically save them from that Assyrian empire. He didn't spiritually save them. The angel didn't spiritually kill all those Assyrians. He physically killed them, people, and they were saved. So when in the New Testament, every time it talks about being saved from enemies, it wasn't talking about from demons and devils. We don't see David telling you we got to go worry about these demons and devils. No, they was fighting the Philistines. We see in Psalm 83 all the nations that they were fighting physical battles. So, yes, you got to be spiritually right with the Most High. You got to get your soul right. It tells you in Psalm 119 how to purify your souls with the word of the Most High. That's completely spiritual, getting right with the Most High. But what we're expecting of a Messiah is physical things. That's what it say. That's what was happening. That was happening on the ground. Throughout the whole Tanakh, we see physical salvation given to the nation of Israel. And, of course, the spiritual aspect is always going to be there because, like I said, you're going to be spiritually elevated once you see that you got physically saved. If you got bumped up by the police, scared for your life, and you got out of that situation, you could call that salvation. Your spirit is uplifted, like, woo, glad it didn't go down like all these other situations have been going down. But your body was physically saved from harm. Dealing with the Romans, they was physically killing people and crucifying them. Herod physically killed Jesus' disciples, and the other Romans was doing this. They didn't want no preacher. They wanted the thumb of the Romans off of them. They wanted to stop being taxed. They wanted their land back. They wanted a real jubilee according to the law in Leviticus 25. Not no spiritual preaching session that got everybody killed. And 2,000 years later, where he at? We see in Zechariah 12 through 14, a physical war is going to happen. And it says that the sons of David will be like angels, or the house of David will be like God. I mean, we see physical things happening. It says after the nations that survive the wars, that got to go to Jerusalem. These are physical wars. This ain't a battle with Satan. This is going to be physical wars. So all this spiritual talk, yes, it's in the Tanakh, but not concerning the Messiah, son of David. The Holy Spirit ain't a descendant of David, so why did he have to even interfere to get Mary pregnant? You can call it sex. You can call it a physical connection. Now, I wouldn't say that the Holy Spirit penetrated Mary in the form of sex like that, but every other time we don't see no virgin birth. We don't see no God interfering with a woman and she ended up pregnant. They all had husbands. Like I said on the comment board, none of the questions I raised on the comment board is being addressed. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? We see David was told from your body, this is your seed is gonna come, because God never told David, hey David, I'm gonna be your son one day. So for those who believe Jesus is God in the flesh, God never told David, I'm gonna be your son forever. We know David's gonna have seed forever. Jesus said you ain't having no kids in the future. Matthew 22 and 30. So I mean, there's a prince in Ezekiel 46 that's gonna have sons that he's gonna leave an inheritance to. So if we're not gonna be having kids, then how is this prince gonna be leaving inheritance? If Jesus is the last sacrifice, why is this prince offering a sacrifice for himself and the people? Oh, you don't understand. It's spiritual. That's all we ever get, but we don't see no prophecies telling us this. We just hear y'all telling us this. So again, when we go into the New Testament and we agree with something, like in Matthew 6 about only praying to the Most High, we do that. When we see the Jesus telling the lawyer, keep the commandments and that's your ticket to eternal life, we try to do that. But everything else that's new doctrine that you can't find a verse for in the Tanakh, we don't rock with that. So yes, we're going to be offenders of the New Testament. So like I said, I'm going to be addressing everything that was brought up on me last week in detail, because I'm going to actually have time to talk and give my perspective in full detail. So any more questions, Sal?
Now, you only got 2 minutes left. You can pretty much just give some last words. We're going to come back around, though.
Okay, so like I said, you know what I mean? This is the way I seen the trial was basically trying to get our different understandings of the Tanakh, and not exactly why we don't rock with JC. Because there's no need to rock with JC. He didn't do nothing. He's not here. Nobody else was told to, after they died, still pray to this Messiah. Nobody's praying to Hezekiah. Nobody's praying. And it says in the Tanakh, he was one of the greatest kings of Israel. Nobody's praying to King David. Nobody's praying to Aaron, the first Messiah when Israel came up out of Egypt. Nobody's praying in his name to the Most High. And these were all great men. Aaron was crowned. We don't see nobody praying to them. We don't see nobody asking things in their name. Not even Moses, who the Torah is called after him. So, I mean, all this talk about, y'all don't understand this and y'all don't understand that. He don't have understanding. Well, I understand that when I read what the book say and y'all don't like it, stop teaching out of our book. Y'all going to have to shut me up. Y'all know what a ring is. Ain't nobody scared of y'all. Y'all can't shut nobody up. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. Anything else, Al?
That's it. Yeah, 10 seconds left. That's it. All right, y'all. Once again, it's Fact Check Volume 3. I know y'all enjoying the show. Like I said, we're going to go back around. We still have Bishop Eliyahu. I'm going to get to you, Bishop Eliyahu, next. Again, the number is 319-527-6239. For those who are having difficulty calling into the show, do me a favor. Just email me your number. And I'll try to find you on the switchboard. All right? So if you having problems calling into the show, you're unable to call in, email me your number. Matter of fact, if you called in, correction. If you called in and, you're trying to press number 1 or whatever, but, I can't see you on the switchboard or whatever, just email me your number and I'll look for you. And definitely get to you and hopefully, hear from the audience out there later on. We're going to get some questions from the audience to the special guests on the panel. Again, we're having some problems on Blog Talk Radio. I see some people press number 1, though, but it may not be everybody. So, again, if I don't get to you and you actually press number 1, just send me an email with your contact information, your number, and I'll try to find you on the switchboard. All right? But in the meanwhile, let's go to Bishop Eliyahu right about now. Let me go to him. What's going on, my brother? How you feeling?
Hey, peace and shalom, brother. Peace and shalom. I'm feeling great.
All right, man. You got 20 minutes to go in. Go ahead.
All right. I just wanted to say Shabbat Shalom to all the family. Peace and blessings. I really enjoyed the trial, and I've enjoyed hearing everybody say their piece about it. I want to say give praise to the Brother Anonymous and Calvin, of course, for donating. I'm right behind y'all brothers. I really enjoy the platform as well, and I want to encourage others to maybe, make a pledge or even remember the show when they're sowing into a ministry. Because there's a lot of ministers that get on this and teach a lot of word, and it benefits a lot of people. So I wanted to say an excellent job, especially to Zadok. That brother gets me fired up because of his zealousness, so I praise God for Brother Zadok, Anonymous Hebrew. Danny, everybody was on my team. I think they did an excellent job. God bless you, brothers. Keep the faith, endure to the end. On the other side, I want to give recognition to Eylon. And I want to say to Eylon, I appreciated him within the debate because I feel like he was trying his best to actually answer what I was specifically asking him, and it didn't seem like he was trying to shy away from giving an answer. So I wanted to put Eylon up there in the forefront with that. I wanted to say to everybody, I apologize. When I was coming into the trial, I had thought that I was going to only get 2 rounds that lasted 10 minutes apiece. So I thought I was going to get 20 minutes within the whole show. So I knew I could only talk to maybe 2 people. I plan on talking to Chris Harris and to Eylon, and I figured I could only get maybe 1 or 2 real answers out of them. So in the beginning of my questioning, I did lay out a very precise viewpoint that I had and related my question to them so there was no confusion about exactly what I was trying to ask them. So the reason why I built my question up as such is because, again, I only thought that I was going to have 2 10-minute sessions and be able to talk to 2 guys only. So when it actually kept going longer, I actually saw that I could have been building a different type of way. So I just wanted to say that to make that clear, because I hear them saying about the sermons. And there may have been a few other people on our side that were under that impression as well, and maybe that's why in the beginning the line of questioning was like that. I enjoyed the debate. I think Eylon actually challenged me to a debate we have coming up as well in the midst of that, dealing with the oral law. So tune on to that when that comes up. And I just wanted to say during the debate, I thought it was excellent. I mean, I heard Eylon actually answer when the question about the eating of feces that Ezekiel was told to do by the Most High God. And he said in times of extremity, in the time of extreme sin, there was these extreme signs given. And so I appreciate that because, you know, we see Isaiah walking around naked, you know, and we see that Ezekiel was eating feces. We see that Hosea was told to marry a woman of whoredoms. So I just want to jump into this for a second. I'm going to read Ecclesiastes 3:14 because God does do things like this, and he does them so men will fear before him and turn from their wicked ways. And this is what we see with the cross of Jesus Christ. We see an extreme sign for people laden with sin. But this is Ecclesiastes 3:14. It says, I know that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it, and God doeth it that men may fear before him. So God had chose that Jesus Christ would suffer and die on the cross in order to glorify his name and that he would raise him again. You cannot add anything to it, and you cannot take anything from it. That happened, and that was according to the will of God, and those who choose to neglect that are ultimately denying the knowledge that the Most High has brought through his servant, which justifies us, faith which worketh by love. And that's ultimately the sacrifice is love, and that's something that we leave out a whole lot. But I wanted to actually take up Dayvaughn in his little challenge, and I don't know why he said that no one tested his teachings or anything. I actually made a teaching right after that showing his folly and showing that he interprets the Bible like Satan, and I'll demonstrate that here in a minute. But this is John chapter 3, verse 14. It says, And as Moses lifted up the servant in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. So I want to deal with this Son of Man being lifted up, this sign, and the extremity of it, because they say, well, man can't die for your sins, but I do like that the Tanakh only brothers, at least one of them, recognize that extreme signs come in these times when they're laden with sin to get their attention or to get them to repent. So I want to go to Numbers 21, 5 through 9. And so I'm going to go to Numbers 21, 5 through 9 to show you what Jesus meant by as the serpent was lifted up in the wilderness. Now in Numbers 21, I'm going to pick it up at verse 5. It says this, And the people spake against God and against Moses, Wherefore have ye brought us up out of the land of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loatheth this light bread. See, they didn't have the spiritual bread or the spiritual water, even though they had the bread from heaven. This is what Jesus meant by I'm the true bread from heaven, because he feeds our spiritual man, see, not the flesh. But anyway, Numbers 21 and 6 says, And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died. Therefore Moses came to the people and said, the people came to Moses and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against Yahweh and against thee, praying to Yahweh that he may take the serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people, and Yahweh said unto Moses, Make thee a fiery serpent, and set it on a pole, and it will come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live. So he did this, and the people looked upon it and lived. Why? Because this was a demonstration of their faith. So I'm going to go to Wisdom of Solomon and connect this for you. And this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, and I'm going to start at verse 5. Listen carefully. It says, For when the horrible fierceness of beasts came upon them, and they perished with the stings of crooked serpents, those are those fiery serpents, thy wrath endured not forever. But they were troubled for a small season, because they were dying from the poison, that they might be admonished, having a sign of salvation. Well, the sign of salvation was the serpent on the pole. The serpent represented what it was that was afflicting them or causing them to die, rather the poison in the serpent. We see Jesus lifted up on the cross, and we see that it is sin that is of the flesh, but we continue, or the venom that lies within. It says to put them in remembrance of the commandment of God. So this sign was to put them in remembrance of the commandment of God. And in verse 7 it says, for he that turned himself toward it was not saved by the thing he saw, but by thee thou art Savior of all. So we see that God gave this as a sign of salvation, that whoever would look upon it in faith would be saved if they believed. And this is what we keep going back as Nitzari, or as the true Israel of God, according to Galatians chapter 6 and verse 16. With that said, I wanted to show how very clearly Brother Dayvaughn, since he keeps on saying this, and he wonders why people single him out. Well, he's the one that seems to muddy the waters the most. So I think a lot of brothers aren't calling him out, but just trying to clean up a little of what he does. So I'm going to go to Luke chapter 4, and I'm going to read verses 8 through 13. Okay, so we're going into the New Testament in Luke chapter 4. And I'm going to go ahead and read verses 8 through 13. So listen to this carefully. And Jesus answered and said unto him, get thee behind me, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou worship. And he brought him into Jerusalem, and set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, if thou be the Son of God, cast down thyself from hence. For it is written, he shall give his angels charge over thee, and keep thee. And in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest thou dash thy foot against the stone. So this is the same thing that Dayvaughn does. He tries to make these spiritual prophecies physical, even to the point to where he would probably tell you something like, well, hey, if you say you're this person, jump off this cliff, because the word says no evil shall come upon you, for the Lord shall bear you up. Of course, what does Jesus say in verse 12? He says, Jesus answering said unto him, it is said, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. And when the devil had ended all his temptation, he departed from him for a season. Now, the reason why Dayvaughn and others seem to have a hard time understanding what Christ is teaching is because it's in a mystery. And he said that there's no mysteries in the Bible. All those things are revealed, children. But God says very clearly it's his glory to conceal a matter, and it's the glory of kings to seek it out or to find it out. And we're going to deal with that a little bit later as well. But this is Mark chapter 4, and I'm going to read in verse 11. It says, and he said unto them, meaning his disciples, unto you it is given to know the mystery of the kingdom of God, but unto them that are without all these things are done in parables, that seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest at any time they should be converted, and their sins should be forgiven them. So I want to deal specifically with one of the things that he was teaching erroneously out of the new covenant. This is Luke chapter 10, verses 17 through 20. He likes to harp on it. It says, and the 70 returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject to us through thy name. And he said, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Behold, I give you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Notwithstanding, in this rejoice not that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your name's written in heaven. So what did he mean about these serpents and these scorpions? Well, if you look at this scorpion, it can mean scourges. Okay, you see these serpents, it's referring to a den of vipers, those that are filled with venom. You look into the Torah, you look into the Tanakh, it tells you that these that speak evil, they have venom in their tongue. So I'm going to point this out very quickly because a lot of people may not be familiar with this. Right here when he said, nothing shall by any means hurt you, I'm going to go to Isaiah chapter 50, okay? And I'm actually going to pull this out of the Septuagint for those of you who like to read it. And I want to show you something very interesting in Isaiah chapter 50 because this is talking about the Hamashiach and it's talking about his suffering that he would go through. So this is Isaiah chapter 50, and I'm going to start at verse 4. It says, the Lord, even God, gives me the tongue of instruction to know when it is fit to speak a word. He has appointed me for me early. He has given me an ear to hear. And the instruction of the Lord, even the Lord, open mine ears, and I do not disobey nor dispute. I give my back to the scourges, and my cheeks to the blows. And I turned not my face away from shame and spitting. But the Lord God became my helper. Therefore I was not ashamed, but I set my face as a solid rock, and I know that I shall never be ashamed. For he that justifies me draws near, he who pleads with me, let him stand up against time. Yea, who is it that pleads against me? Let him draw nigh to me. Behold, the Lord will help me. Who will hurt me? Behold, All ye shall wax old as a garment, and the moth shall devour you. So he says, who shall hurt me? When you look in the King James Version, it says, who shall condemn me? You see? So when Jesus said nothing shall hurt you, he means you shall by no means be condemned before the face of your accusers, even though you're persecuted as the wicked. And I want to point this out in Romans chapter 8 because there seems to be a gross misunderstanding of the book when it comes to the other side and their teachings of these things. But I'm going to go to Romans chapter 8, and I want you to check this out. Let's start at verse 34 to look at this, what he was talking about not being condemned or hurt or being made to leave off of the path of truth that the Lord upholds us on. So this is Romans 8:34. It says, who is he that condemneth me? See, who is it that hurts me? It is Christ that died, yea, rather that is risen again, yea, that is even at the right hand of God and also maketh intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. So even though we go through this affliction, we overcome because we are not condemned by our accusers, nor are we hindered or fearful to speak the truth because of their evil devices. This is the manner of which God speaks, and this is the spirit by which is coming through the prophets. We see all of them suffered, but he said his righteous shall be saved out of all troubles. And we see this most of the prophets all killed that were sent to Israel. So you have to spiritually discern these things. It's very dangerous when you try to make everything physical, and then say, well, there are some spiritual things, because you end up making a lot of these mistakes. But I'm going to show you an example of some of this. Let me go to Psalm 91, verse 11, for example, to show you of this, what's going on. So this is Psalms 91. Okay. Now we're going to pick it up at verse 11. It says, let me start at verse 10. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come near thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up, lest thou dash thy foot upon a stone. Well, thou shalt tread upon the lion and the otter, and the young lion and the dragon thou shalt trample on foot. What does he mean you won't dash your foot upon a stone, though? This is talking about sinners will not cause him to stumble or cause him to walk out of the way. This is why a lot of people seem to not understand the new covenant nor the mysteries that are being revealed. Let me give you a demonstration of this. I'm going to go to Proverbs chapter 3, okay, to show you about these stones in your way that your foot won't stumble on, because Christ has showed us the righteous path, okay? Now, this is Proverbs chapter 3, and we're going to pick it up at verse 21. Now, pay attention. I'm all up in this knock, okay? This is Proverbs chapter 3, verse 21. My son, let not them depart from thy eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto thy soul. See, not unto your physical flesh, but thy soul shall live, and grace to thy neck. Then shalt thou walk in the way of safety, and thy foot shall not stumble. Did you catch that? Thy foot shall not stumble. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt not lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. And you know what? I have no fear, because I know in whom I belong. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. So no matter what I go through, I do not fear as others fear, for the Lord thy God is my helper. Whom shall I fear? This is Proverbs chapter 3:25. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of desolation of the wicked when it cometh, for the Lord shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. See, brothers and sisters, the stones are talking about sinners that try to get you in snares and trip you up and try to get you out of the way of the path. Let me give you an example of these people. And God said he would even receive these people, make a league with them if they were to convert. This is Job chapter 5, verse 23. Job 5:23 says, for thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. And thou shalt know that thy tabernacle shall be in peace, and thou shalt visit thy habitation, and shalt not sin. You catch that? Thou shalt not sin. This is what it means not to have your feet stumbled on a stone. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, you only got like 4 more minutes left. Sorry about that.
Yes,
but,
sir.
Yeah, there's people
no problem, brother.
There's people out there that just want to know more about the trial, like what you felt about it in general. There's people out there that's hitting me up saying they want to hear more about what you felt about the trial and stuff like that. So you can throw that in with the last 4 minutes, guys.
Okay, yeah. About the trial, I feel like that it was an excellent trial. I we found out a lot of things that we were looking for. I certainly did, especially with their doctrinal standpoints and theology, and it's really helped me to understand where they're coming from and the mistakes that they seem to be making quite frequently, some that I just pointed out. I think that there was a lot of blunders made very clearly. For example, all the things that were said earlier by Dayvaughn that were actually addressed. And I want to say this. There's not a lot of contention from the Messianic brothers, if you will, because I think a lot of them are really seeking after relationship. They're really looking to help people come to Christ. And even if somebody doesn't believe what they believe, I mean, we're under a mandate to show patience and to, show love and to deal with people in a way that we're meek and that we can lead them to the goodness of God. So I don't see a lot of these contentions or brothers from the Messianic side harassing these brothers and sisters a lot. Now, I did make a video afterwards to warn the flock, and that's my job. I need to warn those who follow Christ to be careful of these things that are being taught by people like Christopher Harris. And you heard the brothers say just a minute ago, our dearly beloved brother. So thank you, Chris. I'm glad that you considered me your dearly beloved brother. I'm going to accept that, brother, because I think we did have a good talk. So I do want to talk more with you as well. And I want to say this. Dayvaughn actually came onto my channel calling me a cheerleader, calling people like us cheerleaders. It seems like he's really trying to offend people. And so I want to say to you, Dayvaughn, nothing you said, brother, is going to offend me so much that I won't deal with you. I want to talk to you too, brother. And if you want to come on the platform, it's igicknoxville@gmail.com. Man, Gmail me, brother. We'll be happy to bring you on. We'll be happy to talk about any of these doctrines, and we'll go through the word amicably. I have no issue with that. We have nothing to hide. We're not trying to run from anything. No one's trying to duck you or trying to make you look bad. But ultimately, this is about the people who are listening and the audience and the truth, man, so that people can come to the light. Okay? Is there anything you want to ask me, brother?
Yeah, you got 2 minutes left. Are you surprised to hear like some of the brothers are saying that they do subscribe to some of the things in the New Testament? You can touch on that quickly.
No, I'm not surprised by them saying that they subscribe to certain things in the New Covenant. A lot of them were so-called Christians. I mean, most of them are apostates. So they came into the truth by way of Jesus Christ. That doesn't shock me. But I will say this. The brother said a minute ago, I have to say this. He said, Yah made evil and good. I want to know if the brother thinks that Yah made moral evil, like that he is the one who created homosexuality, murder, and filth. When God says he created evil and good, he's talking about calamity. And he brings calamity or evil upon people because of their sins. So it seems like we might need to put them on another trial called the offenders of the Tanakh, because I think in the trial we had, we actually saw that not only do they offend or they offenders of the New Testament, but also against the Tanakh, against the Holy Sabbath and other things. But I do have peace and love for everybody out there, and make sure you guard your hearts and stay in the peace and love of God.
All right. So once again, this is the Fact Check bonus edition after the trial special. We appreciate the family that's tuning into the show. What I'm going to do, I'm about to change the rules a little bit. I know I said I'm going to go back around and get everybody's 10 minutes. I'm still going to do that. However, we have a lot of people standing by that want to ask their questions and some of their comments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a few people to, chime in from the audience and say their piece, and then we're going to go back and get everybody 10-minute rebuttals and, pretty much, I guess, wrap it up from there. But I might get some more questions if time permits. But let's go to the audience and get some questions from the audience. And please, audience members, if you have any questions, if you could direct it to an individual on the panel, that would be better. And let's go to the phone lines, though. If you want to make a comment, that's fine as well. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to 720-412. You're live.
All right, yeah, I'd just like to say just a little comment. I've listened to all the fact checks, and tonight I'm hearing people saying they're trying to build and they're humble. But if you look back at all the videos, they're the people throwing jabs. So they'll ask Dayvaughn Mays a question, he'll answer it, and they'll give like a smug little comment, or, they'll throw a jab, or they'll say he's reading it out of context, or they'll say that he doesn't know the word or whatever. They're not explaining why they disagree. Another thing I noticed, Dayvaughn and Chris Harris, the things that they didn't know, they were honest enough to say, I don't know. To me, that shows they're being honest. It was a person that said, or it was one of the people that claimed to be humble. He said, if a person doesn't know something, then they can't tell him, they can't teach him nothing. So show me the humility in that. Like, how is that being humble? And to me, that shows that's the opposite of wisdom. Like, Solomon was the wisest person, but he said he even admitted he didn't know everything. So I just want to leave that comment out there, and it's all documented. So people can go back and listen to the videos and really pay attention and see who was being humble, who was throwing jabs, who was answering questions. Like Dayvaughn Mays said, he in the threads on the YouTube, he got the scriptures and the questions. Nobody's responded to him, and they've been up there for about 2 weeks now. So if they want to break them all down, feel free. We want to know. I'm just listening. I'm just watching and observing. I want to see it get addressed. It's documented at this point, and that's all I got to say.
All right, man. We appreciate your comment, man. And once again, anybody could call in, y'all. Anybody could call in. The number is 319-527-6239. Only rule that we have is there's no foul language, y'all. Got to keep it clean and try to keep it as professional as possible once you call into the show. But let's go to the next person, though. Let's go to 682-249. You're live. All right, 682-249. Can you hear me? 682-249. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I got you, man. What's going on? Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is Mag. I was just calling because I was trying to get try to get an understanding from the Torah Nice point of view, because a lot of the issues that I'm seeing here is that people don't seem to have faith or to seem to have an understanding in accordance to the Spirit of God, because they're trying to look at things that they can see and not things that, that is beyond them that they can't see. Abraham could see the promise afar off because he had faith in God, that he believed that he was going to have, that he believed that he was going to have seed to come after him. See, but the problem is the Toranites, the way that they perceive things is that they look at, okay, I don't have a son right now.
You mean the Torah only? You're saying Torah Nights. The Torah only. Torah only, you mean.
Torah only, right? Sorry. Yeah,
there you go. Go ahead.
Sorry, my bad. But the issue is that you cannot have this animosity when a person is telling you about the Spirit, when prophecy is according to the Spirit of God. That's how prophecy works. You can have no physical aspect, or you cannot have this physical understanding that, it has to be salvation. It has to be physical salvation. It can't be spiritual. It has to be physical salvation. But when you see in Ezekiel, it talks about how God was going to remove their stony heart and give them the heart of flesh. Is that a physical stony heart that he's going to pull out of your chest and give you a heart of flesh? He's going to just transplant that into your body? No, you would say that is spiritual. So why is it that we cannot come to that understanding of, okay, if the prophets are speaking of a Messiah that is to come, who is this person that is going to lead us to the true understanding of the Torah? Because Jesus Christ said that search the scriptures. So he brings you back to the prophets anyway. So if you're going to say I'm a Torah follower, I follow the Old Testament only, okay, then you need to search the scriptures because you think you have eternal life. But everything that the prophets were speaking of, we're talking about him fulfilling them. So my question is that my question is that how can they have an understanding of Torah if they don't understand the Spirit that gives them the understanding of what Torah is talking about?
All right, let me pick one of the people on the Torah only side, and then we're going to move on to the next person. Let me go to MarieEL. Give him some airtime. Get MarieEL. Yeah, man. You can answer the question.
Shalom. Okay.
So his question was, if I'm correct, I mean, if I understand him
Yeah,
correct,
hold on. He's right here. Could you reiterate your question one more time for the brother? That caller.
Yeah, sure can. My question is that how can you understand the spirit in the Torah if you don't know how to receive it? How can you understand the spirit that's behind the Torah if you don't have it?
Okay, well, there's really you can't really judge of whether who has a spirit or not. Because I understand there's no like distinct like indication of whether a person has a spirit or not. That's kind of interesting of how people say, oh, well, you don't have the spirit, or you don't have the Ruach HaKodesh or anything like that. When there's no indication of that. There's no physical indication of that. You either know or you don't. Now, I do understand that you said that, okay, well, if you search the scriptures or whatsoever, you can see them and all the prophets went through them. I want to bring up the pre-trial. Okay, now we did have a small little show that was before. Okay, and I asked a question. Okay, and I asked a question, and nobody answered this question. And it was dealing with the virgin birth, as far as who was these two kings that was born for him to actually fulfill the Isaiah prophecy. And I think Brother B.A. answered, he was like, well, I really am not sure, and I respect that. That's what I said. That's one of the things that I was like, okay, yeah, I respect. He doesn't know. Okay, came across. But my question will be to you then, who were these two kings that were speaking of if Matthew was saying that he fulfilled this Isaiah prophecy? Now, I said that they went in into just Isaiah 7:14. Where there's Isaiah 14, 15, and 16, which actually gives you a full description of this child and what the sign of this child will show to say that indicate that, yeah, that's that child. Okay? And we can go back into Isaiah and we can see that it was Mahar, Isaiah's son, that actually fulfilled it, and he fulfilled that specific part to the T, as far as like, yeah, those two kings and the two lands that actually fell. Or that actually was forsaken, okay? And that was just the only question that I asked. I have several other different questions that I would want to know as far as, okay, well, how did he did it or how he fulfilled this if it says this in the Torah, okay? So and then it becomes to, oh, now it's spiritual, or now we have to wait for him to come back, or we have to wait, for him to come back and fulfill prophecy. When he says, I fulfilled everything that my Father has sent me to do, so I'm still that question that question still stands as far as who was these two kings for him to fulfill that prophecy. Until I can't agree that he fulfilled the Isaiah prophecy. I mean, if that helps answer your question.
All right, family, we got like 29 minutes in the air. We got to go get some more callers. Once again, the number is 319-527-6239. And we definitely going to go into the overtime part of the show. I can see that right now, looking at the switchboard. And by the way, Eylon is here. Eylon Yisrael, we're going to get to you and give you some time so you can let us know what you felt about the trial, stuff like that. But we're going to get some callers right now and get some callers later. But let's go to the next caller. Let's go to 770-896. You're live.
Hey, shalom, Sal. Can I be heard?
You're loud and clear. What's going on, man?
Yeah, this is Brother Josh, everybody. You know what I'm saying? I think introductions are in order. I was calling in because, some things were said, pertaining to debating. You follow what I'm saying? And I just got to say this first, because Sal knows I've been around since season 1. They've all been around since season 2. We've been around for a while. And I heard Dayvaughn say that if somebody want to shut me up, they don't have to get in the ring and shut me up. But, Sal, let's just keep it real. When has a debate ever shut anybody up? That's never been the end of it. Let's not pretend like if I were to debate Dayvaughn Mays and I get the overwhelming majority that I won, he's going to stop teaching, or he's going to stop appearing on Debate Talk for You. We all know that is nonsense. That's just a ploy to try to get somebody to debate him for the sake of debating, for the sake of showing off and displaying knowledge. Because it doesn't matter if it's me, Dayvaughn, Chris Harris, MarieEL, anybody on the Messianics panel, anybody on the Tanakh only panel, if some people say that you won, then in your mind, you won. Nobody is going to stop debating just because most people say they lost the debate. So stop playing the games with that right now. Stop trying to use reverse psychology on people, Dayvaughn, and try to be like, if you want to shut me up, get in the ring. Because no matter how bad of a beating you take, that's not going to be the last we hear from Dayvaughn Mays or vice versa. If you give somebody else a severe beating, that's not going to be the last we hear from them. So let's not act like that debate end controversy, because they don't. Second of all, this is the reason why Brother Josh don't think you're worth his time. You said earlier tonight that in Numbers 15, verse 34, about the Sabbath, when Moses came down, it's all documented, you said when Moses came down from the mountain, he didn't know everything, and you used it as an example. You said, and let me read this, I'm not going to be long, and they put him in the water because it was not declared what to be done to him. You said, see, they didn't even know what to do to this man when he broke the Sabbath. See, this is the reason why I don't waste my time on amateurs like you, because you turn right back to Exodus 31, which events took place prior to Numbers 15. This is what it says about the Sabbath. Exodus 31 and 15. 6 days may work be done, but the Sabbath is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. So they did know. But notice how the brother reads Numbers 15 and 34 to mean they didn't know. It said it was not declared, meaning a decision had not yet been reached. It did not say they did not know what to do on the Sabbath day. When Moses came down from the mount, as you read in Exodus 31, it was already told you in the law what the penalty was for defiling the Sabbath. They put him in war until a decision was final. So when you said that, and it's on the record, and you can come right back, because, I'll let people respond to whoever they're aiming their comments at. You can come right back and try to clear it up, but it's on the record. When Sal uploads this video, y'all make sure y'all go to the part where Dayvaughn Mays was given time to talk about how he felt, and he said out of his own mouth they didn't know. When Moses came down, Moses didn't know everything. When he came down from the mount, he didn't know that he was supposed to stone this guy for breaking the Sabbath. Yes, he did. It's in Exodus 31, events prior to Numbers 15. Nobody had ever done it before then, broken the Sabbath, but they already knew. It just had not been declared officially what's going to happen. Israel does that sometimes, sisters and brothers. They already know what the deal is. And I can tell you other examples of this where God already told them what the penalty for something was, but yet they put the person in war anyway to just make sure that the Lord, I guess, was serious when he said what he said. So in closing, this is the reason why I don't want to debate you, because this is an amateur mistake. You mean to tell me you don't think that Moses knew the penalty for the Sabbath prior to the event in Numbers 15 when the Sabbath had already been mentioned like 5 or 6 times before then? Never once had it been mentioned that death was the penalty? It's right there in Exodus 31. So this is why everybody is targeting you, because they see you as, like Bishop Eliyahu said, the person that muddies the waters the most. They see you as the person that's making the most mistakes. In other words, they see you as the weak link. And on anything, people always target the weak link first. I'm just keeping it real with you. That's why everybody going after you. That's the truth. I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just telling you why everybody is picking on you. Because I even text Chris Harris during the show, and he can witness this, and I'll be done in a second. He'll tell you that I said, man, everybody going after Dayvaughn. I said that. But I'm just giving you clarity on why everybody is picking on you. They think you easy pickings. That's the truth. So I just want to let everybody see that, once again, to not lack of understanding thereof, this is why I don't want to debate you, because this is an amateur mistake. I don't want to do that. And when you do your classes, just let me know. I'm not going to call in. Just let me know so I can come right behind you and give people the proper to not understand it. That's it. I'm out.
All right. That's Brother Josh right there. And like I said, we're going to go back around. Of course, everybody's going to get their 10 minutes to respond and rebuttal anything that they hear or address. So we're going to go back around. We're going to get like maybe 2 or 3 more callers. And everybody else stand by. We're going to come back later and get some more of your callers. All right? Calls. caller calls. All right, let's go to the next person. Let's go to 813-636.
Turn down a little. Turn it down. Hey, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Hey, what's going on, man? Is this Judah Nadzera, all the way from Japan? What's going on?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right. Oh, yes. You know, we're the top tour team there is. We should actually be on there and not these dudes who are actually comedics. I want to ask the Torah opposers over there, what is the exact meaning of Exodus 12, the Passover? Can you please explain that thoroughly for the people? And that's pretty much all. You know, if you're Torah-centered and you're keeping the Torah, then you should know exactly what the Exodus stands for and what it means. So we'll be sitting by waiting for a thorough explanation as to what the Passover actually means. You can start from Exodus chapter 12, from verses 1, and go all the way to, you can stop at 8. No, you know what? No. We're going to keep it going. Exodus chapter 12, verses 1 through, verse 13. So whenever you guys have time, we'll be sitting by waiting since y'all keep the Torah when you know full well you don't. Please give a thorough explanation what the Exodus actually stands for and everything. And if you don't do it, you know TKR is starting up in a few minutes. We're going to lob your head off. And with that, thank you, Sal Showtime, and Shalom to the Israelite family, and no tap to the Hoteps.
You can stand by, man. Stand by if you want. Let me try to. Oh, he actually hung up. Okay. All right, let's go to Let me go to Bishop Eliyahu. Yeah, if you want to address that, you can address it. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'll address it, brother. I don't know if it's going to be satisfactory to him. A lot of people like semantics, and they want you to answer it a specific way. But the Passover is what we see is where the firstborn of Israel were spared. In that, we see the blood of the lamb. That was the sacrifice, okay? The sacrifice is what the judgment from entering into their house or caused death to pass over them. That's the Passover, when death passed over those houses where you saw the blood or that seal of that lamb there. Now that everybody that was in that house, okay, was protected, or the firstborn didn't die. So this later is appropriated in the new covenant as showing the blood that's appropriated to a believer's heart, and the spirit of delusion or death passes over it or does not enter into it, which is the prince of this world, which has fallen, which is Satan, the one that fell like lightning. And he looks for a habitation to abode in. He looks for a place to live in, which is your heart. That's why you must have the good man waiting. But just to go back to Exodus 12, when you deal with the Passover and you deal with the lamb itself, you're looking at redemption, okay? And when you're looking at redemption, you're being changed from one position or status to another. So you're in a position or status of slavery. That's where we see the children of Israel were in. And through this redemption, okay, which ultimately came through this judgment that befell on Egypt, which is Mizraim, or means bondage, okay, we see them released, okay, by, if you will, this grace or mercy provided by the sacrifice and its shedding of its blood that was followed. Now, they did this by faith, because if you look at it in the flesh, that seems ridiculous. How is it that we're going to be protected just by killing an animal and putting the blood on our post? That sounds superstitious, maybe to a lot of people. But the truth is that this is faith. And when they had faith and did what God had commanded of them, we see that they were delivered from their bondage and they were brought into the wilderness ultimately to receive the law and the other things that we're talking about tonight. I don't know if that's satisfactory for the listener or the other people, but we do know the blood of the Lamb. It represents the redemption of Israel and them being delivered out of bondage, and ultimately them being received into a covenant whereby they become the children of God, which is royalty. And they were meant to be in Exodus 19, a kingdom of priests, and we know they're supposed to be a royal people. So this is what we see, and I hope that's satisfactory for him. And that's the basic outline without taking up way too much time. Of course, we could get deeper into Exodus 12. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, and dealing with the stranger that's circumcised and them coming into the covenant and eating Passover and these types of things and what it symbolizes ultimately. But that should be, satisfactory for anybody who's just looking for a basic answer.
All right. Yeah, looking at the messenger, the Torah only team would like Chris to address that. Chris, you can address it.
Okay, I'm going to address that. First of all, before he asks anybody a question, first he must pull the beam out of his own eye. If he believes in the righteous Torah teacher like he say he do, then you got to explain to us, can a homosexual that teaches witchcraft / Freemasonry, in which the Egyptians were the first Freemasons, can you please explain to me why you have him on Torah Nights Radio? You're going to open up the show, and Negi Negi is going to be there, and he's going to be teaching. Can you tell us why Trey Tail said that he was afraid to go into the coffin live on Torah Nights Radio teaching Kemetic Freemasonry or Haram Abyss according to the same doctrine in which that the Freemasons teach? And you said you have to be elevated to the third degree. Can you show me Moses teaching that in the Torah? Because I could go into Exodus 12, and I could break that down very well. Remember, I was the face of Torah Nights. You said it yourself. I was the debate talk for you champion. You said that yourself. So this is that spiritual terrorism that I'm talking about that this guy does every chance he get. Every chance he get. And let me say this live on Torah Nights Radio. I promised you I would burn your school down, didn't I? And I did it, didn't I? Your channel don't even exist no more, Judah. You know why? Because you a slanderer. Because you wicked. And because you teach homosexuality to the people and you keep him in your congregation. I don't know why anybody would want to join you. You fake. You're not nobody's brother. You live in Japan. You won't even teach your wife English. But yet you run around telling everybody you teaching Yahweh language. Show me Yahweh language. That's Aramaic. That came out of the Babylonian captivity. Judah, I've called you out almost 15 times. You didn't want to take the debate. You went off to Hashar, and you went off to Brother Priest Daniel Allah and told them a lie. I exposed that too, and I exposed it without even talking. I let you expose yourself. Listen, man, you need to go sit down somewhere, and you need to repent because you're wicked, bruh. Your team is full of homosexuals, Masons, and Kemetics. You're teaching this false temple with copper pillars when the Most High destroyed Solomon's temple. You're teaching all this wicked stuff that does not have to do with Torah. I have so many text messages on you, you even disrespect your own teammates. I could put stuff out on you all day and not say a word. Go back to Japan, sit down, go in a corner, pray for forgiveness, listen to what Bishop Eliyahu told you, listen to what some of the Christian brothers are telling you, because you're not going to listen. You're going to open up Torah Nights Radio with a homosexual, a Freemason, and yourself being accused of homosexuality and try and teach somebody something. If I was any of y'all, I would never listen to this guy. And by the way, didn't I tell you I would burn down your fake temple? Debate your temple man with me one-on-one, and I can show you word for word where you got it from. I have all the books, all the manuscripts, all the teachings. Judah Nazura, a.k.a. Judah Nasty, you fake, bruh, and I ain't got no love for you. So, like I said earlier today on Torah Nights Radio, on Sal Showtime, you got to repent first and tell everybody why you keep an Edomite or white Caucasian homosexual in your congregation. Answer that. Go ahead, because he's still on there, y'all. He's still on there. Him and Trey Tail, y'all. He's still on there. So go ahead.
All right. Well, once again, it's Debate Talk for You, Fact Check, Volume 3. We're going to go back around. And get rebuttals from everybody. And, of course, listening audience, we're going to go back as well to you guys. So stand by. But we got to get Eylon Yisrael. He is here. He made it. So we're going to bring him in right now. I got to give him his 20 minutes. Oh, by the way, I'm looking at the time right now. So we have like 13 minutes on the air, family. We have 13 minutes on the air. What that means, if you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, if you're listening on the internet, once that time runs out, you won't be able to hear the show unless you call in. That number to call in is 319-527-6239. Call in via phone, call in via Skype. You can also call in via Google Voice. So make sure you call in if you want to hear the rest of the show live. Call in before that time runs out. Other than that, check out the archives. We appreciate your family. And the summer special is going to go down Monday, June 25th, thanks to Kelvin Davis and Anonymous Hebrew for donating the two individuals that made it happen. So we appreciate those two individuals for making it happen. All right, and let's go to, where is he? Where are you? Okay, there you go. All right, Eylon Yisrael, what's going on, man?
Shalom Aleichem, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. How's everything going, Sal?
I'm doing pretty good, man. You got 20 minutes to, say your piece and what you felt about the trial and anything else that you want to address. Go ahead.
Sure. Yes, as always, I have to give honor to the Holy One of Israel, Yod-Heh, Yah, and also my earthly creators, my father and my mother. And I would also like to address the caller who just called in about the Pesach. It's very interesting. This is probably one of the first times I've actually agreed with Bishop Eliyahu, and I agree with Chris Harris all in the same breath. So that's good. It sounds like there is a core base of knowledge that we all have and that we all share on certain issues. So concerning the Passover, the caller was very quick to give Exodus 12 and verses 1 through 13, but he did not read verse 14, which says in Hebrew, "V'haya hayom hazeh lechem zikaron v'chanjuchem ulfa chog layod hewahe l'dorotechem chugach olam techugjuhu." And this day shall be to you for a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. And if we look at the first 13 verses of this particular chapter, we see exactly what the first Passover was. And then this verse 14 tells us that we are to remember this forever. And this is why either in the land or outside of the land, the Pesach is kept. And if we have a temple or not, the Pesach is still kept. And there are different rules and regulations to whether we have a temple or whether we're in the land or out of the land, and how that whole thing actually pans out. But it is to be kept in whatever capacity that we can keep it to the best of our abilities. I hope that answers his question, because he wanted to go into depth, and I think we've already wasted quite a lot of time on that. And I probably won't take up the whole 20 minutes. But basically, my initial thoughts with the trial seem to be as follows. And just basically, I didn't get asked that many questions, as I said, at the end of the trial, because I think they're more technical in nature. They deal with Torah law. They deal with culture, ethics, history, and language. And some of our people are not up to that level and are not up to the task of that level of research and study. So when we're talking about keeping commandments, we're talking about keeping culture and ethics. We're not talking about keeping religion, so to speak. I would say that I am shomer mitzvot, which means that I guard the commandments. I am not religious in any way, shape, or form. All I'm trying to do is do my best in keeping them and keeping our culture and maintaining a lifestyle that started, 4,000, actually more than that, more than 4,000 years ago. So, from what I saw was, from the opposing side, was a need to give a sermon or a preaching lesson or an exegesis before a question was given. I don't think that was necessarily the best strategy in a trial. That's not necessarily the best strategy from a prosecutor, so to speak. So I think there was something missing on the exact angle that the opposing side was coming at us with certain questions they addressed. Again, I didn't get too much time. There were some things said that were a little off. There were some questions that were asked that weren't really relative to the subject matter. Just a few of them, and it was. I was pretty worn out by the end of the night, so. I had fun. I'm not going to say, but it did take quite out, a lot out of me, so to speak. But I appreciate everybody's efforts. I do come out walking, with the newfound respect. I actually learned a few things And so I'm glad we had it, and I can't wait until the tables are turned and we get to put the Messianics on trial as well. So with that, Sal, we can go to the next caller or go around the table. That's all I've got. So shalom, aleichem, and Shabbat shalom, mishpachah.
You got some questions for you. Hold on. Hold on.
Oh, I got questions for me.
Yeah. No, it's me. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions just to keep it going. Because you do have 20 minutes, and we'll try to help you get to that 20-minute mark. But I don't know if you heard the early part of the show. The earlier part of the show, we had our brothers like MarieEL, Chris Harris. They actually said that they some parts of the New Testament, some things they actually do subscribe to. What are your thoughts when it comes to that? Are you surprised to hear that? And what about you personally? Do you subscribe to anything when it comes to the New Testament? You can address that.
Oh, well, I mean, if the New Testament is confirming what the Torah, the Holy Torah says, then I have no issue with it whatsoever. There's plenty of things, for instance, in the Quran that confirm the words of the Torah, especially in practice when it comes to prayer. For instance, where did Islam get the idea to pray 5 times a day? They got that from us. We actually say the Shema twice a day, once when we wake up and once when we lie down. And then we have 3 prayers that we say during the day. One that represents the morning sacrifice, the evening sacrifice, and then the incense offering at night. So if you were doing the math just now, that's 5 times that we entreat the Most High. So if it has something to do with Torah, such as wearing fringes, or even the Christian God, their rabbi, says in I think it's Matthew. I want to say it's Matthew 12. He actually repeats the Shema, which is Shema Yisrael, Yod Heh Waheh, Eloheinu Yod Heh Waheh Echad. He actually repeats that, so I don't have an issue with that. That's great. The question is are the Christians and the Muslims who claim to have Abrahamic origins, are they going to actually do what their prophets tell them to do and go back to the Torah and follow it? And that's the question. Not setting somebody up as a god, not setting somebody up as a prophet above all prophets, not dispensationalism, and not progressive revelation. So that's really the question. But yeah, if it's true, if it lines up with the Torah, I mean, I could find that in any college book right now. Some things that line up with the Torah in regards to mathematics and archaeology and things of that nature. So yeah.
So is there anything in particular, according to your research, one or 2 things, just for the audience sake, that you want to line up and say it all goes together in the New Testament? You can do that now.
Well, I mean, when it says that like for instance, that you should listen to the Pharisees, you should in Matthew 23:1-3, you should listen to them. That's basically paraphrasing what we see in Deuteronomy 17, that you should follow what the judges say. And the term rabbi, the term rabbi is a term only the Pharisees use. So that tells us that if the Christian God actually existed, he was also called a rabbi by his followers, and only the Pharisees were called rabbi. So if that's the case, then then that's what you have to do. The best way to be a Christian is to just convert and become a Hebrew, a full-on Hebrew, if you really want to find out how to do this thing correctly. And it's my opinion that the Christian God, rabbi, and the Islamic prophet, both of them are pretty horrible at their jobs and don't give their followers much to go by. But yeah, I think that's one thing. I'm going to try to save it. I do have a debate coming up pretty soon with Bishop Eliyahu on some issues that I see with rabbinic oral law and teachings and things of that nature. I don't want to give it all away on air, but that's kind of a preview.
Now he already did. So you might as well go. You might as well put it out there. Go ahead. You can put it out there.
Well, that's it. That's it. We're going to be having a debate. What did you say, Sal? July 6th. We'll be having a debate. Me and Bishop Eliyahu will have a debate on what is the oral Torah, and should we follow it? And I think we're going to get into some pretty good issues. I actually have a lot of respect for Bishop Eliyahu. He has a lot of respect for me, and I think we'll have a really respectful debate on some good issues. Mainly for me, anyways, dealing with how to keep these commandments and what we should be doing as a nation, as opposed to religion. So.
All right, hold on 1 second. We got like 1 minute, 38 seconds on the air, family. So you got to call in right away before the time runs out. Want to hear the rest of the show live? Dial that number 319-527-6239 before the time runs out. If you're listening on social media, if you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, you won't be able to hear the rest of the show unless you call in. So we appreciate the people out there that's calling into the show. And if not, check out the archives later on. Now, Eylon, did you get any feedback personally from other people? Have you been watching some of the comments on YouTube? And let us know what you think about some of the response of the people after the trial, because this is the after the trial special. Anything that you want to comment on that you heard after the fact of the show? Okay.
Oh, well, you're always going to have trolls on both sides. Messenger of Truth, that guy's kind of funny to me. He is a debate talk for you troll. He's probably listening right now. But we've got crazies on both sides. As you heard a previous caller call in earlier about the Passover. So for me, when I see that, I see the growth in certain people. I also see some maturity from people starting to find out, I never knew that, or hey, I'm glad you asked that particular question. So there, I think what we're doing is getting people more exposed to different viewpoints and everything else like that. So whether you're Christian, Messianic, or whatever. You're most likely always going to outnumber the Tanakh only, just because that's kind of what the nation of Israel has always been. We've always been small in number, and the Christians have always, and the Edomites, so to speak, have always been quite larger. But again, I see the growth and maturity. I see people putting down the New Testament. I see people who want to hang on to the New Testament but are going to deeper studies, and and that's a great thing. The more you study, the more you're going to get it. So.
All right, so what we're going to do is going to go back around. We're going to go back around. Everybody's going to have their 10 minutes to rebut anything that they heard, anything that they want to address. They're going to have 10 minutes to do so. And after that, I'm going to go back to the audience and pretty much wrap up the show. So let's go to MarieEL. You got 10 minutes, brother. MarieEL.
Okay. And what are we doing now? So I'm sorry.
Yeah, anything that you heard, anything that you want to address, it's a rebuttal session. So anything that you heard, you address that now. Yeah.
Cool. One thing I want to make clear. Okay, though we are all Torah Tanakh on the Tanakh side. Please don't. What I'm trying to say, clump all of us as if we are all, in agreement with each other's teachings. Like, for instance, I do know that, y'all did separate Chris Harris from Dayvaughn's teaching on that, on the whole virgin, sex thing as well. And I am one of those as well that don't. And I was one that called in as well to Brother Josh's podcast, show, giving the correct definitions of what it means to have sex with someone and what it means to be begotten. Okay, so I'm one of those ones that don't agree as well to that being that. Okay, I have a certain philosophy that I actually go by. Chris has a certain philosophy.
Dayvaughn has a philosophy as well, and as well as Brother Eliyahu, Eylon as well. So I don't want y'all to seem like, okay, well, we all just, come together, we all just one, and we gonna be like, okay, well, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. No, I'm actually here to build. Okay, I do want to understand. I have questions, and if I don't see that question fit, then okay, I'm moving on. I mean, it's still until somebody can fulfill in that gap. Okay, but I want to make I want to address also Brother Zadok when he says that you can get with some of the philosophies, but if you can't get those, I mean, that's one of my things. I mean, if I don't get the philosophy, okay, try to show me, and if I don't, okay, well, what can we build on? So there's plenty of things that we can build on. Okay, well, how should we keep the Shabbat? What do you think about the Shabbat? Oh, I like how you keep the Shabbat. Okay, well, let's do that. Or what color fringes do you wear? Or do you match your fringes, or do you keep them all white and blue? Or how do you say your prayers, or how do you do that? Do you face the east still? Or, there are certain things that we can build on at the end of the day, and as long as we have this mentality of, well, if you're not going to do this, or if you don't completely believe in this book, then I can't really rock with you and stuff like that. That's not going to build us. From all of this whole, debating and stuff like that, I'm halfway done with Israel. I mean, to be completely honest, I'm really just rocking with whoever just wants to build or whatsoever. So I'm still always down, to build with the brothers, but only if it's going to be done in peace. Hopefully this ends where, yes, I mean, we can build, I'll reach out. I mean, I'm on Facebook. My name is MarieEL Ben Yahuah. Look me up. Look and see what I'm teaching. Look and see what I'm actually displaying. I'm not a teacher. I'm a student that's have notes, and I'm willing to share them. And I'm willing to write down notes as well. I get my pen and pad when Sal Show come on. Or I got my pen and pad, and I followed Chris when he was even on the tour night. I've been following Chris for a minute. I've been watching Chris. Brother, but yeah, I see with the man up segment. That I love those segments. As far as trying to figure out. I was actually on one of the panels with it when we was talking about just the are we. Is Hebrew being credible? Is it credible? Do they have street credit? So I was on that panel. I don't even think y'all even remember me about that. That's what I'm saying. But I just see this is a bunch of attacking, and I really feel sorry for Dayvaughn Mays because it just seems like he just constantly being attacked. I mean, but at the end of the day, and I'm gonna have to get on him as well. And Slick we have to kind of tone it down when it's dealing with them. I know you passionate and everything, and I know we all are passionate. We are passionate about this. We all want to do right. But, we all want to be righteous. But everybody just wants to be right. That's all I'm seeing. Everybody wants to be right and not really going to be righteous. It takes a lot more. It takes a lot more wisdom. It takes a lot more, it takes understanding. It takes knowledge. It takes counseling. It takes all of this stuff to actually build with one another or something like that. And then if we have differences, then push those differences aside, man. I mean, it's really not even worth all of that and stuff like that. Trying to figure out, okay, well, who is the dumb one, or who can't teach this, or who can't teach it. Because I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that Dayvaughn Mays knows that everyone on here can do. It's stuff that we see him. He actually see sit here reading Torah in Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen anybody on this panel that did that. That actually came out with Hebrew and actually read it in Hebrew and then translated it to English for us. You know what I'm saying? And I can use that. I'm not completely fluent in Hebrew. I do know Hebrew words. I'm not fluent in it. So I'm going to go in after this and try to figure out if he can actually sit here and teach me some Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? Because he seems like he knows. And I'm willing to sit there and, okay, let's go through this. Because I do have a lot of questions in the Tanakh as far as, in the Brit Kadashah that I really want to answer. And if I can't, we'll agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? But we can't sit here and say, oh, well, you don't have no understanding, so therefore I can't get with you, or you don't have or you don't have the spirit, or anything like that. Like me, I'm sorry, I don't take the physical or supernatural stuff. I believe that spirituality is completely different from supernatural. And what I'm hearing is supernatural mainly when it comes to that. So come to my level, and I'll meet you halfway, and let's try to figure out, okay, metaphysical wise, I get down with metaphysical. There are still stuff that, I believe one of the callers came in and said that, there's some stuff that Abraham didn't know. He had to have faith in order to see it and stuff like that. I believe that. To me right now, it says that we're supposed to be, go back into the land, and every single time we go back to the land. But right now, I don't even see how that's going to happen. But I have faith that it might happen. But how we're acting, I don't see how that's going to happen, because if we go back into the land, we're still going to be divided. There's always going to be a reason on why we're divided, because somebody is not going to agree with somebody's doctrine, or somebody's not going to agree with somebody's dogma or whatsoever. But at the end of the day, are we going to be divided again? Are we going to have a northern and a southern kingdom again? Are we going to have 12 separate tribes again? Or are we going to come back as one man? And I mean, that's all I really got. They're gonna do it. I mean, but that's really all I really have to say about that, though. But at the end of the day, it's still all shalom. I mean, get with me, figure out what I know, figure out what I understand. I'll break it down as far as okay, I believe in this, I believe in this, I believe in this, I believe in this. I can show you this, I can show you this, I can show you this. And I study history a lot. I've been studying history since I was little. I've always been fascinated with history, especially with the Persian Empire. I've been studying the Greek Empire. What else? And now I'm really digging into the pre-Exilic time period. So get with me, figure out what I want to do, and then we can have a dialogue, not a debate, not an argument, a dialogue on one of the South shows. And I even told Shao, put me on the hot seat one time, or put me in the lion's den one time, and then just pick my brain. But if I don't understand, I will tell you, no, I don't, or no, I don't. I mean, there's still stuff in Torah that I can't really say, okay, well, no, I don't understand that, or something. But understand where I'm coming from first, understand what I know and stuff like that, and then build your case, and then present it, and then try to figure out, okay, well, maybe that might have something, or maybe why don't you try adding this, or why don't you try doing that, and build me up. Iron sharpens iron, at the end of the day, but iron doesn't break iron. Iron shouldn't be breaking iron. It should be sharpening it to make a whole nother sword. I want to be a whole nother sword, because we have a whole nother enemy, or we have a whole nother nations out there that's actually willing to attack us. And I want to be on the side where I want to have another Tanakh or Torah keeper, or somebody who actually is following Yahuah and stuff like that, to be by my side, whether he's Messianic or not. And we go after these Comedics or Moors or Islam or Catholics or whatsoever. Build me up, brothers. And that's all I want to say. Shalom.
All right, as all y'all know, if y'all want to reach out to anybody that's a special guest on the panel, just go to the description box. Go to the description box, and you can reach out to all the special guests that's been on the show. All right, so let's go to my brother Zadok. Zadok, 10-minute rebuttal session. Go ahead, bro.
Hey, peace and blessings. I'm here. Just want to say I don't even need the full 10 minutes. I don't need to rebut nothing nobody said, because ain't nobody say nothing to me. All I can tell y'all is, look, man, when Christ said he is the way, the truth, and the life, we have to understand what that means. The reason why we go so hard with our brothers who deny what he is and who he is because at the end of the day, the way, the truth, and the life was not the flesh and blood body of a man. The way, the truth, and the life was literally that. The life you saw him live, the obedience unto the Father, even unto the death, and the willingness to lay down his life for his brothers, truly loving his neighbor as himself and loving God with his whole heart, mind, and soul. As even the Torah expert told Yeshua, when you go to Mark 7, Yeshua himself tells the disciples that loving God with your whole heart, mind, and soul. This is the first great commandment. And the second is like, namely this, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Then you go to Luke 10, and when a Torah expert challenged Yeshua on what do he do to inherit eternal life, Yeshua asked him, what did you read in the Torah? And the Torah expert came to the same conclusion Yeshua did. He said, man, the Torah teaches you to love God with your whole heart, mind, and soul, and to love your neighbor as you love yourself. He said, man, do this and you shall live. This is the way, the truth, and the life. And when Yeshua says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, he is saying that I have done it the way that the Father said. I wasn't kind of, sort of about it. There was never one offense in me. So the true sacrifice that God desires is obedience, perfect obedience. That is the ultimate sacrifice. That is when the calves of your lips, and that is when your soul and your life is like a whole burnt offering before him. Perfect righteousness is truly the savor of sweetness in the nose of God. That's what you all have to understand. The idea that I've heard of human sacrifice. Human sacrifice is what humans do. Not once was it proven in any of the discussions ever had between so-called Messianics and so-called non-Messianics, or more properly Torah-only Messianics. No one has ever proven that someone grabbed Jesus and said, I'm going to offer you as a human sacrifice. The scripture teaches that God sent someone and commanded him to be obedient even to the point of giving his life. The Bible says in Isaiah 53, we argue back and forth, is it the nation of Israel or is it an individual? We say it was an individual. Many of the ancient rabbis agree with us. And the Lord shall be pleased when he make his soul an offering for sin. The Lord did it. So it's not human sacrifice, because no man can come to God and say, hey, God, I wanted to please you, so I grabbed this man who we understood to be sinless and we offered him to you. That's not what happened. So stop the human sacrifice fallacy and lie, okay? God has chosen, he has done, and there is more to come. So for those who would like to build with me or any of my brothers, man, reach out to us, man. We easy to find like a stop sign, and we approachable. But I'm going to tell you this. If you think you're going to be passive-aggressive with your statements, and if you think you're just going to sit by and idly talk about our Lord and Savior, man's father, or what person, if you was in the streets, which one of your big homies could somebody just run their mouth about, and eventually you ain't going to check them on it? So all I can say to you is, it could be taken as, trying to belittle someone or come at someone in a certain kind of way. That's not the spirit of it all. I'm going to tell you every time, if I don't think you comprehend and I think you taking something out of context, I'm going to tell you again and again, bro, I think you don't understand it. I think you taking it out of context. And that's just it. So it's not to belittle a man. I don't know no man personally to slander or defame his name, because I don't know you, and I don't know what you've done. I'm not out in the streets talking about you. All I can say is that when we talk about the word of God, I'm going to call it how I see it, just as I expect the next man to do it. And that's all I'm bringing to the table. So if any of these brothers are interested in talking with me, if God allows for the next season of Debate Talk for you to come up, man, just holler at Sal Showtime. I don't challenge nobody. You know what I'm saying? But I'm willing to talk to whoever want to talk to me. So, Sal, you already know what it is, man. I'm in Tennessee, man. Keep me in prayer, man. I'm about to go eat dinner with my bro, and God willing, get ready for the next part of this mission out here to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I'm going to sign off and say good night to y'all.
All right, man. We appreciate you, brother. And most definitely, safe travels. And definitely reach out to you at another time. Once again, if you want to reach out to any of the special guests, go to the description box, y'all. Go to the description box and reach out to the special guests. I encourage everybody to go reach out. Oh, by the way, when you hear the advertisements on the program in the beginning of, when you first go to the YouTube page, you hear all the advertisements. Make sure you show your support. Go to the websites, go check them out. See all the merchandise, see all the things that's going on for the community, and go check it out. Also, if you want to go to the description box, you can go directly to their links in the description box and support the people that advertise on Debate Talk for you. But let's go to Dayvaughn Mays. Got 10 minutes, brother. Rebuttal session. Go ahead.
All right. Well, dealing with what Zadok just said, as far as disrespecting their God or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Since we see JC as an idol, the Torah clowns idol worshipers. It says who takes a piece of wood, uses it for fire, and turns around and bows down to it. So there's plenty of scriptures of that. It's not like we just be making up stuff when we be talking about we don't like the idol. I do want to read something real quick. This is Psalm 146. It says, basically, when you dealing with the kings of Israel, now it says, and the Messiahs, while I live, I will praise the Lord. I will sing praises to my God while I have any being. Put not your trust in princes, nor in a son of man in whom there is no salvation. So why would the psalmist tell us there's no salvation in a son of man, and comes to the New Testament and tells you exactly salvation is in a son of man? Y'all act like we just be making up stuff trying to avoid worshiping your God. We got instructions not to do these things. And to put us on trial, Jesus said in John 5:22, moreover, the Father judges no one, but has entrusted all judgment to the Son. But then turns around in John 12:47, if any man hears my words and believe not, I judge him not. So why are y'all judging us? Even Jesus don't judge us. For I came not to judge, but to judge the world, but to save the world. Then again, he turns around and says he's going to be a judge. He's all over the place with the scriptures. And of course, I don't understand it, but that's what he said. So, to address one of the things Bishop said about Luke 10:19, it says you're going to have power over all the enemy. Now, if you can show us what power was showed over all the enemy, because I'm sure that's going to be a spiritual enemy, because the physical enemy showed didn't have no power displayed over them. Paul was able to kill them. Herod was able to kill them. So, of course, you're going to turn it into a spiritual thing. He was talking about scorpions and stones and rocks. And, yeah, I get your breakdown of that. But we're talking about the job description of a Messiah. They wasn't looking for a preacher. In Acts 1:6, they was looking for physical restoration in the Romans to leave. They were not looking for all this spiritual, mysterious conversation from a Messiah. The Messiahs in the Tanakh didn't get down like that. Yes, they taught the people Torah. David says, let me teach you the fear of the Lord. That can bring you spiritual salvation to yourself. But David actually went out and saved people. And to address what Josh said, he actually made my point. I'm going to read what he said. This is dealing with numbers. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man who gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. And those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation. They put him on the guard because it was not declared what should be done to him. Now, when they got to the Ten Commandments, we know that the Sabbath was clearly in there. But they wasn't sure if, now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, was collecting sticks considered work? Was that worthy of death? So what did they actually do? Why did they put him in war? Because we know that they were commanded in Deuteronomy 17, if there's a matter rises too hard for judgment between blood and blood, plea and plea, between stroke and stroke, being a matter of controversy within thy gates, thou shalt arise and get thee up in the place of the Lord thy God shall choose, and you should come unto the priest, the Levites, and to the judge who shall be in those days. That's exactly what they did. They took him to Moses because they wasn't sure what we're going to do. And what did the Most High tell them to do? Execute him. How come they just didn't execute him? Why did they have to go ask questions? Again, everybody didn't know the answers. That's why you got to put them in ward and go ask the questions. That's why Deuteronomy tells you the commandment. If you don't know the answer to a question, Deuteronomy 17, 8 through 14 or 13, go ask somebody. Like I said earlier, nobody knows all the answers. We see the same thing in Leviticus 24. And the son of an Israelite woman whose father was an Egyptian went out among the children of Israel, and this is the son of an Israelite woman and a man of Israel strove together in the camp. And the Israelite woman's son blasphemed the name of the Lord. Now we know that's in the Ten Commandments. Exodus 12:7. Don't take the Lord's name in vain. Because the Most High says, I will not leave that person unpunished. And what was told to be done to him? The Most High told them to kill him. Same situation. So, we see the same situation. Nobody knows all the answers. So, Josh, thank you for actually answering the question, saying that it had to be declared to them. Well, if they knew the answers, why did it have to be declared to them? If something needs to be declared, that means it has to be spoken
issue to the people. This is what you should do. If they already know what to do, why are you asking questions? You wasting people's time. So, I mean, we see the. They keep telling me I don't have no understanding, but I mean they making my points for me. I mean, like I said earlier, Micah 6:8 tells us, what does the God require? But you be humble and walk humbly with your God. Micah 6:8. I'm just gonna read it because it's like when we try to come to grips with y'all and show what Jesus even said. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is near. We see Ezekiel telling us to repent. We see Jesus with the model prayer in Matthew 6. We only pray to the Most High. We see the commandments as the way to life. In Luke, we keeping the same thing that Deuteronomy 10:12 says to us. He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God? No mention of a Messiah. Why not? Same thing in Deuteronomy 10:12. What is required of you but to fear God, love him with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul? Nothing about a Messiah again. We see in Nehemiah 9:6 that only the Most High's name is to be exalted forever. There is no name above his name. And we see Yeshua in the very verse before it in Nehemiah 9:5. It didn't say, except my son. Even Israel, nobody prays in the name of Israel. And we know Israel is one of the most prominent names in the Tanakh. Now, and then another thing, too, is angels are not even brought up. We see in Genesis 48:16, Jacob said, the angel that redeemed me. Psalm 34:7-11 tells you when you fear the Most High, he sends an angel to protect you, just like in the book of Daniel. Why? Because it says when you fear the Most High, he protects you. He gives you salvation. Psalm 145:19. Fear of God is the greatest commandment. He tells you, oh, that you should fear me, you and your children, things will go well for you forever, Deuteronomy 5:29. Fear is above all that because fear is wisdom. And wisdom is the Torah, Deuteronomy 4:5-8. It don't say nothing about no gospels. Psalm 144:10, to everybody who's holding on to this name, Yeshua. It is he that gives salvation to kings, who delivers David his servant from the hurtful sword. So salvation is given to the kings, is given to the Messiahs to perform what they do. Even though David was anointed, he had to be given salvation. 2 Samuel 22:51 tells you this. He is the tower of salvation to his anointed. Only the Most High has the salvation. He gives it to people. No man can come and give you anything. We see the same concept in throughout the book of Psalms. So, I mean, Psalm 60:11. Oh, grant us help against the foe, for vain is the salvation of man. No man can save you. You got to repent. You got to save yourself. And this word in Psalm 144:10 is Teshua. Not Yeshua, but Teshua. Sounds very similar because we know the breakdown of the Hebrew in the Strong's 34:67. We know what Yeshua means. We know what Yasha means. So, I mean, again, Isaiah 45. They pray to a God that cannot save, but all the ends of the earth will look to the Most High to save them. Israel's looking for physical restoration in Acts 1:6. Not for no preacher. The preachers didn't save them from the Romans. They were tortured and killed. The Inquisitions. How many people believed in Jesus during the Inquisitions? And that still got people killed if you didn't bow down to the way the Catholic Holy Roman Church perceived the scriptures. They didn't even let you read it. Only the priest could give you these things. So, y'all can come at me all y'all want to. Y'all can say, I don't know this, I don't know that, I don't know this, I don't know that, whatever. All praise to the Most High. Many people have put the New Testament down on and off there. I get hit up all the time. I'm talking to people from South Africa, from all over the world, talking about, thank you, man, for showing that. That painting in the prophecy lecture, that Daniel 9 lecture. Man, I didn't see those things. So, yeah, the Christians is going to say, yeah, you don't understand the New Testament. We don't need to understand your book. And when we agree with you in your book, that ain't enough for y'all. We got to go to the next step and ask things in this new God's name. No. Y'all ain't read Exodus 23. Don't mention the names of other gods on your lips. Don't provoke them. Don't provoke the Most High to anger when you do these things. So y'all can talk about me all y'all want. All y'all do is give me pub. which is all to the G. You know what I'm saying? People going back and listening to the lectures, and they hit me up. People saying that all y'all do is been coming at me, and everything.
Don't touch that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk Radio.
All right, my brother Dayvaughn, 10 minutes is up, man. But I heard Chris is on the line with you. So, Chris, you can go ahead, man. You got 10 minutes, brother. Go ahead. Yeah, Chris, you on the line?
He's still on my...
Okay, I'm still here. I'm here. Can I be here? Well, first of all, I want to give all praise, all glory, and all victory to the Most High. I want to say, everybody, thanks for listening in. I know it's been a long, intense show. I want to say something real quick because I don't want anybody to get anything twisted. I'm not turning my back on my brother Dayvaughn. It's my brother, and I love him. You understand what I'm saying? When I have trouble with Scripture, I go to him. You know what I'm saying? I'll go to all my brothers for help with Scripture, and we all can have healthy debates and we can build upon each other. We don't have to destroy each other. I heard that coming back out tonight. We don't have to do that. Listen, there are many forums on Sal's platform that we can go to and solve our issues. You got the Man Up section. Let's build on that. If y'all having problems in Israel, let's come on there and let's solve these like a man. Let's man up. That's what it's there for. You understand what I'm saying? See, the spirit of Messiah is an anointing from up top. It starts up top, a conceptualized thought. So let's build with each other. Let's not tear each other down all the time. I heard a lot of that tonight. And one thing I would like to address again, we heard that one gentleman called into the show, and he asked a question, but he did not even sit up there and answer the challenge I put out there to him, because he won't, because he's got to answer out about his homosexuality, slander, and witchcraft Freemason charges first. And I will never stop banging on the wicked. That's what I do now. You understand what I'm saying? This ain't about just destroying each other and tearing down each other's homes. You know, I have to agree with one thing Dayvaughn did say tonight. I will agree with that. He said when we agree with people on certain points, it's not enough. And that's all I'm trying to sit up there and say. I heard a lot of that tonight where people still want to insult one another or attack one another based on theological belief. It don't have to be like that, y'all. So let's build one another up and stop tearing each other down. Because if you want to do that, you can go over there on that show TKR over there and get them some more views and slander one another all day. But for right here, man, I'm going to build my people up. I'm going to build my brothers up. And I love all y'all. Shout out to everybody on the panel. Albeit we may disagree on certain points, we will agree on this. We one people. So come on, y'all. Let's wake up. Shalom, peace. Chris Harris, MVP. I'm out.
All right, y'all. So we appreciate y'all. Like I said, go to the description box. I want to reach out there to the special guests. Go to the description box. You know, they are accessible. You can reach out to them. They will speak to you. They will call you. They will contact you. Go to the description box. But let's go to the Bishop Eliyahu. You got 10 minutes of rebuttal. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, peace and blessing. I've really enjoyed the whole dialogue tonight. I've enjoyed everybody's point of view. I think it's been a very, very good show, and I'm going to go back and actually watch it and share it with everybody I know, so I would tell everybody to do so as well. I just want to kind of just say my piece a little bit. I would like to actually come to a point of commonality with Dayvaughn a little bit, since he sounded a little frustrated like he was being attacked so much. My prerogative is just to bring clarity to the scripture and to understand the truth. So ultimately, that's what we should all be seeking, the proper understanding and application of the scripture. With that said, I agree with him. No man can, just do these things himself, referring to Jesus. Jesus made it very clear that all things were given to him by his Father. His Father is the true God, Yahweh Elohim. He made that abundantly clear. So we don't believe, at least I don't believe, that Jesus Christ did anything on his own capacity or it was his own power. As I read earlier in Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 14, God does these. Nothing can be added to it. Nothing can be taken away from it. He does these things that men may fear before him, that they might obey him. And Christ taught us what that obedience was. I love what Zadok said earlier, referring to the sacrifice that God is looking for, that true sacrifice. But when he calls JC an idol, the thing is you're introducing a lot of kind of void concepts. For example, we don't believe JC is an idol. We believe that he's been risen from the dead. He's been given all power from his Father. We believe that he is a king, a priest, and a prophet. It's very clear. When you deal with an idol, he doesn't even define what an idol is. So I just want to say that to you, brother. You have to define what these things are. What do you think an idol is? Can you go back into the Tanakh and can you show me an angel as an idol? Can you show me that specifically in Tanakh that an angel is an idol? Can you show me in the Tanakh that a man is an idol? Or can you show me in the Tanakh that a flesh and blood living person is an idol? Or, you have to define these things, what you're talking about. You just say JC's an idol. That's not doing anybody any good. So I just want to say that. And as well, I think he said, challenged and said something about show us where you had all power over the enemy. Just go back and listen. That's what I dealt with earlier, that all power over the enemy is dealing with the fact that they will not sin, that they will sin not. And you have to look into the scripture to understand these things. He says the people that were looking for salvation, that JC led them to their death. JC said when you see the city encompassed around and the abomination of desolation and so forth, he said, flee ye from the city, and that they pray that they're, when they flee, that it's not on the Sabbath or, in bad conditions and so forth. So the point was there was false prophets among Israel teaching the people that they could overcome the Romans. That's why they got killed. I mean, even the last high priest we have documentation of, Phinehas ben Samuel, in 70 AD, trying to lead a charge against these people. I mean, these people were getting massacred and murdered. They end up eating their own flesh, eating their own children, because they listened not to the voice of the prophets, nor the ones before them, as Daniel had previously foretold. So I don't want to really waste any more time on what he says. He says a lot of things. The Bible also says, and I don't mean this as any personal attack. I'm a minister of the word. I quote the word, but a fool is known by the multitude of his words. You have to be very careful about what you say and what you speak. And when you say a lot of things and you're not carefully studying deep into these things, you can make a lot of mistakes, and you're going to be accountable for that, just as I'm going to be accountable for my words as well. So we should all fear God and keep his commandments. I want to deal with what Zadok said. I think it was awesome what he said about the way, the truth, and the life, and that, talking about what that really meant. It wasn't talking about a flesh and blood man. It's talking about that life that was manifested in him. I mean, ultimately, that's what we're offering ourselves up by, the power that worketh in us mightily through our belief and faith that we have, and the one that is able to save us even from death. So I wanted to show that Christ did not put these things upon himself, but he was called of God. And since he is called of God, and we believe that he is the living Messiah, the anointed one, we must follow him according to the words of God, since he is the one teaching and, the mysteries and revealing things that were once hidden to us. So this is Hebrews chapter 5, verse 3. It says, and by reason hereof he ought, as for the people, also for himself to offer for sins. And no man taketh this honor unto himself, but he that is called of God, as was Aaron. So Christ glorified not himself to be made an high priest, but he that said unto him, thou art my son, today have I begotten thee. As he also saith in another place, thou art a priest forever, after the order of Melchizedek, who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplications with strong crying, with tears unto him that was able to save him from death, that's the Father, Yahweh Elohim, and was heard in that he feared, though he were a son, yet he learned obedience by the things he suffered. Man, this is talking about us being refined in that fire, us being purified from our iniquities through abiding in faith, loyalty, and fidelity in the midst of temptation and attacks of the devil, not to crumble, not to fall, not to leave the path. Are you suffering that walk? It's a very suffering walk. I suffer that walk, and I think I know men who do suffer that walk. That's why they approach this text with more concern. Now, when we look at what Zadok said, I want to pull that out because, let me get it. There's just not enough time to get it. This is John chapter 15, and I'm going to read verse 12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I've loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, than a man lay down his life for his friends. See, no greater love than to lay down your life for your friends. This is a sacrifice as well pleasing to God, that you die for your brothers. This is brotherhood, the brethren. This is what we do. And the brothers that we see in the new covenant are offering themselves up in obedience to God, being well-pleasing, pouring their lives out, suffering the loss of everything in order to keep the word of God, because they won't be silenced. And they're surrounded by nations and a people that don't want to hear the truth and hate the truth, killed all the prophets that came before them because they had the Spirit and the name of God in them, and they suffered greatly because of these things. But in the eyes of God, they were precious and cherished. This is the story that we see throughout the Scriptures, especially when we go back into the Tanakh, that the blood of his saints is precious unto the Most High God. And it's by the precious blood of Jesus that we have been set free from that water, where that pit wherein is no water, by the blood of the everlasting covenant, which that one that is lowly and meek, coming and riding upon an ass, and the fold of a coat of an ass, Okay, having salvation brings unto us the meek and lowly King, because we all must be humbled before the sight of the Most High God in order to be glorified ultimately. And if we suffer with Jesus, we will be glorified with Jesus. So like I said, I don't have enough time. I'm going to read this sacrifice. Philippians chapter 4, verse 18 says, "But I have all and abound. I am full, having received Epaphroditus, the things which were sent from you, an odor of a sweet smell, a sacrifice acceptable and well-pleasing unto God." He's talking about his suffering, the things he endures for the truth. This is Romans 12:1. "I beseech you, therefore, brethren, brothers, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy. Without holiness, you cannot see the Lord." I don't care how much you plead the blood of Jesus or anything else. You don't have holiness, you will not see God. "Acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service." Romans 15:16 says that I should be a minister of Jesus Christ to the Gentiles, ministering the gospel of God might be acceptable, being sanctified by the Holy Spirit. Why? Because everybody that is going to live for the truth is going to suffer for the truth, and ultimately be martyred. And it's these martyrs that we see that are the ones that are going to enter into the kingdom of God, having endured in the faith and done all they could do to stand. Now we see Hebrews 13:15-16 says, "By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually, that is the fruit of our lips." Guess what? That's going to get you in trouble with people around you when you're praising God. Tell me you don't live in a nation where people hate the word of God, hate the praise of God, hate the thanksgiving of God, and outlaw it, take down the 10 Commandments, and tell you can't pray, nor if you are poor and you have to send your kids to school in a public school system that they can pray. See, what are you living around? You're living around people that hate the praise of God, but we should offer this continually, that is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name, but to do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices God is well pleased. So I only have a little bit of time left. I want to say to all the brothers tonight, I love you. Really, peace and shalom unto all. Happy Shabbat to all of you. To all of you who don't know or have a personal relationship with God, I would suggest you to look in the face of Jesus Christ and to the face of the suffering servant, he that humbled himself that he might be exalted in due time. And if you patiently follow after him, you shall be exalted in due time as well, doing all that you could do to stand. And if you are faithful to the end, you shall be given a crown of life, and you will be joined with him in the resurrection, according to the scriptures. So with that, I want to say to the brother Eylon, I want to say to Zadok, I want to say to Christopher Harris, I love the zealousness. And, if you're not approved of God, you shouldn't manifest yourself and step into a forum trying to proclaim the truth of God, because you will be tested. A man may seem right, but we're going to come examine you. And ultimately, if you're leading people astray, the shepherd of the flock will beat off the wolf. So I love you, brothers and sisters. Peace and shalom. All respect and to all the elders out there, double honor to all of you. Keep laboring in the truth, word, and doctrine. Our holy women, keep following after modesty and holiness all the days of your life. And don't worry about all these examples we have around us. So I love y'all, brothers and sisters. So if I get another chance to talk, all praise be to God. And shalom. Shabbat shalom.
All right, that was Bishop Eliyahu. Like I said, just go to the description box. You want to reach out to any of the special guests. We only have a few minutes left, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the line and get some of your questions, family, and some of your comments. But please make them quick. You know, the quicker you do it, the more people we can get to. We have like maybe 18 minutes left in the air, approximately. So let's go down the line and get some more of your questions and some of your comments. Let's go to 516-469. You're live.
Hey, what's going on, Sal?
Hey, what's up, man?
Actually, I sent you an email. I don't know if you received it, but anyway, I think it was a great show, and I think again, the guys that believe in Jesus, their case are always clearer. I like the person that Chris is turning out to be, and I hope whatever work that Brother Josh is doing with him, he continue to do it. Dayvaughn is my guy, but at the same time, me and Dayvaughn, we done had those talk already. I couldn't believe he brought that to the radio, that the Holy Spirit had sex with Mary or something like that. But I would like for you, hopefully he's listening, for Brother Josh to do a show on the identity of the angel of the Lord. Because, I love the way Brother Josh break down Scripture. And I see everybody that ask him a question, he says he's going to do a show. So I would like for him to do a show for me, if possible, about that. Other than that, to the brothers that believe in Christ, that's the only way. To the brother that don't believe in Christ,
I'm going to pray for you guys, especially my brother Dayvaughn, because I told him I pray for him every night, because I know he has to come around, because the way he's explaining it right now, I don't know, man. I don't know. But Sal, keep doing your thing, man. Great show, great show, great show. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, man. Appreciate your call, my brother. We're going down the line, y'all. We're going down the line. If you didn't press number 1 yet, feel free to press number 1. Again, this is just a bonus show. We were supposed to be off the air, but we're giving y'all a bonus. We're giving y'all a bonus right now. So I appreciate all the special guests that actually came back on, took some time out of their day to come back on the platform to give the people the special segment, the special edition of this After the Trial special. But let's go down the line and get some more of your questions and some of your comments. Let's go to 706-505. You're live.
Yes, if I wanted to ask Dayvaughn Mays a question, if he can respond to it real quick. Now, we believe that Yahusha is the divine servant of Yahuwah or his divine son. So I want him to elaborate on Joshua chapter 5, verses 13 through 15, because he accuses us of worshiping idols. So if he is, Joshua is guilty of the same thing. And here's Joshua chapter 5, verses 13 through 15. It said, "And it came to pass, when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, a man stood up opposite him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went to him and said to him, Are you for us or for our adversaries? So he said, No, but as commander of the army of Yahuwah I have now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and worshipped, and said to him, What does my Lord say to his servant? Then the commander of Yahuwah's army said to Joshua, Take your sandals off your foot, for the place where you stand is holy. And Joshua did so. And this is not Yahuwah now that Joshua is worshiping. So it seems like Joshua, according to Dayvaughn Mays' logic, Joshua is guilty of idolatry. I would like for him to elaborate on the scripture, if possible. I yield.
All right, let me open this phone line. Guys, you can respond, Dayvaughn. Go ahead.
Okay, well, when you're dealing with this word worship, it means he bowed down to him. We see the same thing when Jacob bowed to Esau. Now, was Jacob worshiping Esau when he bowed to him when Esau came with his 400 men? No. Joshua was simply paying respect because we know Michael is the angel of the Lord that is the commander of the army. We even see this in your book of Revelation, that he's the one who fights the Satan, right? So Jacob is bowing down to Esau. We see this thing, people bowing down to King David. Nobody's worshiping these people. They're not putting them in the position of God. He just knows out of respect, that especially in the ancient days, bowing to people was common. Now, to actually worship somebody is a whole other thing. When Jesus says, all authority has been given me under heaven and earth. Well, the Most High said that he runs heaven and earth, and he don't give his glory to nobody. So that was a bold-faced lie from Yeshua right there, if that answers your question. Or I can elaborate more.
Hello? Can you hear me, Sal?
Yeah, you live, man. Yeah, you can interact.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is this, though. This commander of Yahuwah's army is saying, take your sandals off because I am holy. No other case, David never said that to anybody.
Okay. But did he worship him? No. He simply bowed to him. Did Jacob worship Esau? No. He simply bowed to him. People worship Jesus, bro. There's statues of him all over the world. Now, I don't know if you're a Trinitarian, but there's people who do, I hope you understand it, there's people who do worship Jesus. For instance, the guy who just called in, James, who just called in, James will tell you that Jesus is God, and that's who he worships. And me and him talk all the time. He's a Christian. You know what I'm saying? We talk all the time. Well, I ain't going to say all the time, but we talk. But, you know what I'm saying? So you got your Christians, like I said earlier, who don't believe that Jesus is God, that think he's just a Messiah or the Son of God, or everyone would look at that. But there are people who do worship this man, whether you want to say he's God in the flesh or whatever. So go ahead.
No, I understand that. But to me, from what I see in this passage, whoever Joshua was worshiping is divine. He's saying, take your sandals off. This is holy. You understand what I'm saying? That's, to me, from what I see, that is divine.
Well, angels are called God, are they not?
They're called Els. I would not say they're not.
Right.
They are called Els.
They're called God, right? They're called Elohim, right?
They're called
So,
El.
I mean, right. And then then the argument will come, well, is he the angel of the Lord? You heard James, again, back to James. James just asked Josh to do a lesson on who is the angel of the Lord, because James thinks the angel of the Lord is God in the flesh, or God incarnate, which he thinks is Jesus incarnate, but he thinks they're all the same person. So I'm just for the simple conversation, he thinks the angel of the Lord is a form of God, which would make that angel holy. We just had this conversation yesterday, me, him, and Chris. You can ask him. You know what I'm saying? Literally, we had this conversation yesterday. And we see that the angel of the Lord, I don't know if you think the angel of the Lord is Jesus or God, but we pointed out when the angel rolled the stone back in I want to say it's the book of Matthew, it's in one of the Gospels, but he said, the Jesus who you look for is not here. And he's called the angel of the Lord. So I don't know your position specifically, but this angel was not worshipped. He was just paid respect due because Joshua knew who he was dealing with.
Well, I would disagree with you there because, I mean, he was worshipped because Joshua fell to the ground and praised him. So I would disagree with you
so
there.
was Esau worshipped when Jacob bowed to him?
I mean, if you want to look at it that way.
Pay respect to. I'm just
okay,
saying,
if you
go into the Hebrew, look at the word. They could be used
okay.
both ways. They could just be translated bow, or they could be translated worship.
Okay.
Now, do you think he was actually worshiping him?
I'm trying to answer your question, but you know what I'm saying, keep going on. So listen to what I'm saying. In that context, I see Esau as being praised. I see Jacob as submitting himself to Esau out of guilt and saying to him, hey, look here, you know what? I know I did you wrong, but however I can make this right. You name how I can make it right, and I'll do it. Now, that's what I see in that context. Now, in this context, in Joshua, I see him giving homage and worshiping someone that is divine and someone that has more power than he does.
Okay. So in Genesis 33, I want to say it's in chapter 33. You familiar with can you read Genesis 33 for us?
Yeah, Dayvaughn, unfortunately, I got to cut this conversation off because we got 10 minutes left. I got to go to Eylon. He want to respond as well. Eylon, let me find you. That alone, you can respond quickly. You got 10 minutes on the air.
Yes, sir. I'm just gonna kind of chime in with the caller because he's saying praise. He's saying words like worship. He is saying words like as a divine being, which a malach, an angel, is a divine being. But the word that we see in verse 14 of Joshua 5 is Wayishtahu. Okay, and when you get into the practice of actually praying 3 times a day, Yishahua literally means to prostrate oneself. Okay, and so that is the fullest meaning of the word. So when we're looking at people bowing down to certain things or people or what have you, they're literally lying flat on the floor, and that does not necessarily mean that the person or the thing is actually being worshipped necessarily. There are things that represent other things or what have you. So when we're looking at the angel of the Most High, I think Dayvaughn made a very good point that the angel of God in Matthew could not be the God of the Christians, but rather that this is a separate entity, if you believe the story in Matthew or not. But getting back to Joshua, he is a representative of the Creator. So if he is a representative of the Creator and he is sending a message on behalf of the Creator, for instance, you're going to give him as much respect as possible. For instance, if the president sends an envoy your way or an emissary your way, he is to be treated as a dignitary. Okay, so that's basically what is happening here. Okay, so let's again do some more research, look at what the Hebrew says, understand what it means in actual practice, and these things will become a little bit more clearer to you. So that's basically what I wanted to say. If you guys want to go ahead and wrap up the show.
Yeah, I'm going to let you call it, so reply real quick, and after that I got to get the next. We got one more caller standing by. Go ahead, you can reply, 706. Go ahead.
Okay, and thank you, because you're saying just what I'm saying. We believe that Yahusha is a representative of Yahuwah. So if Yahusha is that representative of Yahuwah and people are praising him and worshiping him and following his teachings, then the followers are doing exactly what Joshua is doing. So that last caller who said that, thank you, because you just made my point. I yield.
All right, keep in mind we have like 7 minutes left in the air, y'all. So you got to make a quick comment. Can't even read any questions at this time. It's a quick comment, and pretty much anybody else, if you press number 1, quick comments. 916-747, quick comments. Go ahead.
Shalom, Sal. Shalom. They talk to you. Shalom to all the brothers on the panel. This is Sister Ashanti. My thoughts on the trial. It was about 5 hours long. I listened to the whole thing. I pretty much heard everything I needed to hear. I heard the stances that I needed to understand. This is what I said last week. This is why it's so vital for people to read the whole book for themselves and to seek the Most High and the Holy Spirit for themselves to be taught in a proper manner. And I want to say that we would benefit from checking our own hearts and our attitudes to see if our attitudes line up with the Most High Yahweh. You know, throwing insults, telling people they're idolaters, even when they ask not to be called that, and then insinuating that people never answer any questions is just outright unfair. The attitudes of, you know, hey, if people want to believe something, then let them believe it. If somebody's not forcing any type of belief on you, then what's the issue? If somebody's not forcing you to believe in the whole book, what's the issue? If somebody's not forcing you to believe in the other side of the book, which is the RC, then what is the issue? My question is, if you love something, you spend more time on it. If you hate something, you don't spend no time on it. So when you spend more time with the Most High and try to get yourself in right standing, you really don't have time to worry about what everybody else is or is not doing. You don't worry about what everybody else is thinking about you. You're worried about what the Most High thinks about you and how to get in line so you can be in the kingdom. So with that, I just say, you know, make sure to check our hearts, make sure we check our love, make sure we check our right standing and obedience. Obedience to Yahweh is everything that Yahweh does. The timing that he does something in, the vessels that he uses, the methods that he uses. That's complete obedience, okay? And we're supposed to get rest and peace. And people all here to and fro just like, okay, well, I got to do this, I got to say that. And y'all can't stop me from this, and y'all can't stop me from that. I mean, it sounds like you ain't got no peace. And if you serve the Most High Yahweh, who ultimately gives peace, then why ain't you got no peace? Pray for that peace. Pray for that shalom. Pray for that completeness. I love y'all. Shalom, shalom, shabbat shalom.
All right, Shabbat Shalom. We only have like a few minutes left, so that's about it, y'all. Mark this date in your calendar. Summer specials going down Monday, June 25th. Thanks to Kelvin Davis and Anonymous Hebrew for donating. Yo, we got to do better, people. We got to support our programs. We got to do better. But thanks to these brothers, like I said, we have the summer special going down Monday, June 25th. I have a lot of great things lined up. It's going to be 2 weeks for the summer special. So make sure you keep it locked on Debate Talk Radio, all right? So take care. We appreciate the family out there. Reach out to the special guest in the comment section. And, of course, in the description box. Take care. God bless.